We'll begin with a pule by Commissioner Kaneakua.
E puli kako. Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the day. We thank you for the sunshine and the rain. We thank you for our lands. We thank you that you give us opportunity to deliberate on things worthy of you. Please descend upon this place. Take care of people who have come from a distance. Take care of those that are online. We ask that you'd watch after our families. We ask that you would take care of our people and allow us to prosper. Bless us so we can be blessings to others. These things we ask in your name and give you thanks. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. The meeting of the Hawaiian Homes Commission is called to order. The meeting is being held virtually on Zoom and in person at the Sheraton Kauai Resorts Poipu Ballroom. Today's date is Tuesday, May 20th, 2025, and the time is 9:40. Leah, will you please call the roll?
Commissioner Freitas. I see him. Commissioner Kalekini will join us shortly. Commissioner Kalepa. Commissioner Kaneakua.
Aye.
Commissioner Lasua.
Here.
Commissioner Marfield is excused. Commissioner Namu'o. I see you. Commissioner Nevis.
Aye.
Chair Watson.
Here.
7 members present. We have a quorum.
Okay, today's agenda will begin with public testimony on agendized items. Then we'll go to item G2, which is deals with Kalaupapa National Park, and then the J agenda. And then the commission will recess at noon for lunch and contested case hearing deliberation. Okay, so
Chair. Could I
Commissioner
have the
Nevis?
floor for a minute?
Sure.
I just wanted to thank the community for coming out to our community meeting last night. We had right around 150 people show up and about 30 people online. So that is probably one of the biggest community meetings we've had. So we need to keep that engagement. I encourage you to continue to engage so we can get the things that you want. I would believe in the commission at the end of June. Our new commissioner is Shailene Ornalis. Shailene, if you could stand, please. Shailene will be your new commissioner July 1st. And I've committed to have her come out and meet the community and work with her in the process as she moves along. I'll always be available after my commission. You know my number, you know where I live, unfortunately. But I wanted to thank Auntie Moki Niehu last night for providing the maiai for all of the group. We forgot to say that last night, but I just wanted to thank her. She really put a lot together and I really appreciate it. I appreciate you communicating to your community, your engagement. I love you all. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
thank you, Commissioner Nevis. Let's see, agenda G2, declare finding of no significant impact or FONSI for the Kalaupapa National Historic Park electrical system rehabilitation and upgrading of upgrade. And then this is final environmental assessment for Kalaupapa. We'll have the presenter, Andrew Choi and Nancy McPherson.
Aloha, Commissioners. Item G2, the recommended motion action is that the Hawaiian Homes Commission issue a finding of no significant impact declaration based on the final environmental assessment for the Kalaupapa National Historic Park electrical system rehabilitation and upgrade project. With me today, I have Nancy McPherson, who will be walking through the final environmental assessment, along with Nancy Holman from the National Park Service. She is the superintendent for Kalaupapa.
Aloha kako, Commissioners. I'm sorry I couldn't be with you in person today on the lovely island of Kauai. This project has been going for a while now. We know where Kalaupapa is with this location map, and then the map on the right is interesting because it shows land ownership for the lands within the National Historic Park boundary. As you can see, Hawaiian Homelands is on the left there in light blue, mainly the settlement, the cliff, and the trail, including some land at the top which is in Palau. Next slide, please. We have been giving updates to the commission for a number of years now. The last one was in December of 2023. Also, the National Historic Park has been giving regular updates to the commission over the years. And so this project is just specifically about the electrical system repairs and upgrades. Next, please. I did want to document that there have been a number of pretty major infrastructure projects since the National Historic Park was created. The main one being a new potable water system. Before that, it was a casement kind of arrangement, and there were a lot of water quality issues with that. Also, all the large capacity cesspools were converted. And there were some additional work done on the water system, replacement of the water storage tank and the well pump, and then also repair of the dock structures, which were, really needed it, and we're really happy that that was able to be done. Next, please. So this map shows the existing utilities on the peninsula. And of course, most of the funding goes into restoration of and maintenance of the buildings. But as far as infrastructure goes, there's a lot of money that is put into maintaining the water system. And then the marina, again, that's the dock and the electrical system. So they are working on the perimeter fences now. It may have even been completed. And there was a proposed new fuel facility to replace the underground storage tanks that the Department of Health had, which need to be decommissioned. But that's on hold for right now because of high cost estimates. Next, please. Now I'd like to hand the presentation off to the superintendent of Kalaupapa National Historic Park, Nancy Holman, who will walk us through the details of the project. Nancy, are you available? And can you unmute?
Oh, thank you. It wasn't letting me unmute. Good morning. Thanks for having me back at the commission to talk about this project. I would like to just start off by sharing a little bit about the contracting process, just because I think it helps frame why this process has taken so long, and also just the route of design. So this was a design build project. So we really understood the complexities of trying to do this particular work in Kalaupapa, its potential impacts to cultural features. So the design build process allows us to work with a contractor throughout the design process to further massage and look at the design. Normal contracting process is your design is developed in advance. You hire a contractor just to execute that design. So I know the design build aspect has been added another layer of complexity to this project that's made it a little bit more difficult. And you'll hear me talk through how that design build element impacted the project along the way. I think to really what we hoped it would do, it helped us mitigate potential impacts to, like I said, the cultural landscape and the cultural features. The other thing I'd like to mention that I think gets complicated about this project for a lot of people is this is the rehab of the distribution system. It's not about how the electricity is generated. It's really about how electricity is moved throughout the settlement. So I think that also is really important to remember. Next slide. Thank you. So this is an image of Kalaupapa. The yellow highlighted areas are the areas of the electrical grid system that we're going to be talking about today. The red indicates the portion we had considered pulling line for the first time from the main grid out to the water pump house. Through that design build process, we determined that that actually wasn't the best way to maintain safe and efficient and consistent power to that pump house. Just too many challenges with the cultural resources, so we ended up pulling that out. Next slide, please. I might have a little lag on my end. History of the power system, you've seen this slide before, are talking through how it became eligible for the National Registry of Historic Places, the contributing aspects of different parts of the system to the National Historic Landscape of Kalaupapa. So we really wanted to make sure we were thoughtful through the whole process of what changes we would be needing to make to, again, get safe and reliable power that meets established criteria with the electrical company, while also thinking through the historic structures. Next slide, please. I thought it was important, since we've been to the commission several times on this project, to kind of help people understand those places in the history of this project that might, again, be complex or confusing to people. I'm not going to read through this whole slide, but essentially, because of the aspect of design build, we really tried to communicate to all of our stakeholders throughout the process how we were doing business, how the design was developing. And I think as we're continuing to develop our relationship specifically to DHHL and the commission, we collectively decided to not bring this project back to you until we are at final design. So in the meantime, the Park Service, we concluded our requirements for compliance already as we went through the process, both from the National Historic Preservation Act as well as the National Environmental Protection Act, so on the federal side. So now we're going through the process of the state side now that we have final design. So our 6E just completed its 90 days and we're awaiting our letter from SHPD. We don't expect to have any major concerns there. And then we're here today asking you for that FONSI to close out the HEPA process. Next slide. So the project itself, this is the details of what we're actually doing now that we're in final design. So we're replacing 237 power poles, various light fixtures that are dark sky compliant lighting. We're upgrading poles from single phase to 3-phase, insulators and attachments. So basically, think about almost all of the infrastructure is going to be updated and replaced. The environment here is very hard on infrastructure. So the salt air, the wind, termite damage to poles. So this is really an indication to us. In the process of the design process, we replace equipment all the time. I have a high voltage electrician on staff. 2 weeks ago, he was having to change out a transformer. So we're constantly in the process of making sure that we keep safe and reliable power here, but this is really an indicator that the system is failing and it's time and the need to replace all of these bits and pieces. That was also part of the design process, was to really go back and vet, is there anything we can salvage versus we have to really bring in new equipment to go forward. So again, I just want to mention that we really explored the possibility of pulling line out to the pump house. In that process, we went through a long discussion on, and I should also mention, we looked at the whole system just on the heels of the Lahaina fire to really discuss the pros and cons of undergrounding the whole system to get a safer electrical grid from a fire management perspective. With the new insulated lines, we actually get a high reduction in fire potential with the new line system, and undergrounding here is complicated by the fact that if we tried to bore, we were unlikely to be successful based on our substrate. So we would end up trenching in the end, and trenching down here is really not a viable option. I always remind people Kalaupapa is, an active community. It's a cemetery and it's a national park. So we really try to reduce any sort of digging, because we are highly likely to encounter something while we're digging, and we want to really avoid that. So as we weighed out all those options and really looked at where our failure points had been with the generators at the pump house, we determined to, again, not pull that line out to the pump house and instead replace the generators with new equipment. We've been really successful in the last 5 years by getting our generators back on a maintenance system and repairing the things that were making the system fail in the past. So we feel really confident that that's a mitigation that gets us to that outcome. Would also mention the other things that we were looking at were things like where we can remove poles out of known cultural features at the park and put them in a new alignment. And that's predominantly along the road coming out from the settlement to the airport. Next slide, please. So again, like this map, I think you have a copy of this hard copy there, but that illustrates all the different places in which poles and new equipment are going to be put in. So again, looking at that area, it's like bulk in the middle of the settlement with that red area, and then going out to the airstrip and up to the lighthouse buildings, but no longer to the lighthouse itself. Next slide, please. This is a better close-up of the settlement itself. It gives you, again, a sense of where the grid is. One of the improvements that's going to be made to the system is some looping that helps us, again, maintain power if we have an outage or any damaged equipment for future maintenance. We were really looking at both just getting new equipment in, but what is the maintenance life cycle and of the project going forward? So again, these additional things really help us do that. It's noting where our laydown yard is. If you've been out here before, this is across from Papaloa Cemetery. It's the big ball field. As you can imagine, there's going to have to be a lot of supplies coming in via barge and need to be kept on site for a while. Next slide, please. This is an illustration of, this is out by the airport and the lighthouse. Again, one of those areas we really looked at what is necessary to keep power on into certain locations. This area in the red actually has a significant cultural feature in it. And by no longer pulling those lines out to the lighthouse, we can put in a small solar system to power what needs to be powered at the lighthouse itself while removing infrastructure equipment from sensitive cultural areas. Next slide, please. And okay. I'm going to hand this back over. Thank you.
Aloha again. Just to summarize, in the final EA, because of the change in the design of the project and the mitigations that Superintendent Holman has mentioned, the project's going to occur in areas that are already currently developed, that have been previously disturbed or along existing roadways. They are also doing efforts to halt or reverse the spread of invasive species. So that'll be happening during the construction of this project. And so these avoidance and mitigation measures would avoid adverse impacts on threatened, endangered, and other special status species. And there are multiple tables in the final EA and the addenda that list those mitigations. There's a detailed revegetation and rehabilitation plan for enhancing areas disturbed by the project. For historic and cultural resources, Again, it would be largely restricted to previously disturbed areas, and they are also looking at doing mitigation that's going to protect existing cultural features by actually relocating the power poles away from those features. And so any adverse effects would be avoided through archaeological monitoring or mitigated through site documentation. The approved AIS recommendations will be followed, and an archaeological monitoring plan will be prepared and implemented during all construction activities. For water, there's going to be no traffic generated by the project, no wastewater, and as Superintendent Holman discussed, it's been modified, so there's no extension of the electrical system to the water pump house. But the idea is that those old generators will be replaced by newer, more efficient generators in order to ensure a reliable power source for the water system. So for existing plans, we do have the general plan, and that was examined for the policies that support this project. And for the Molokai Island plan, again, that there are policies that support the project. We also have the regional plan. Kalaupapa wasn't discussed. And I have a correction to this slide. The general management plan was finalized in 2021. Okay, next slide. I think that talks about the consistency. Yeah. So we looked for a lot. We saw, no, back one more. Yeah. So we looked for consistency with in the areas of land use and water resources, infrastructure, healthy communities, and economic development. And for the Molokai Island plan, we do have beneficiaries who are employees who live and work in the settlement. So this project will stabilize the electrical grid, which has multiple benefits, reduce the risk of fire, and improve reliability and resilience. So this supports our beneficiaries because it improves stability of the links to the outside world via phone and internet, and eventually will support economic opportunities for beneficiaries. And as I mentioned, the realignment of several power poles will serve to protect cultural sites. Next slide, please. There was consultation, coordination. There was a 30-day comment period after the draft EA was published. Multiple state and federal agencies have been consulted. This is outlined in the errata sheet and Appendix A. There was a public scoping period, Section 106 consultation, a coastal zone management federal consistency review was obtained from Office of Planning and Sustainable Development, Coastal Zone Management. There were concerns expressed about the not using renewable energy, but as Superintendent Holman mentioned, that was not really the scope of this project. It may be something that hopefully one day the National Park Service will want to explore again. And the concern about any excavation needed, that's been eliminated now, running that line out to the pump house as was described. So the NEPA EA FONSI discusses the changes made to the project design, describes additional consultation, and summarizes public comments, and all mitigation measures are listed in the Table 1 errata sheet. Next, please. So we do, as you have seen before, go through the significance criteria. And staff has done that, and we're recommending a finding of no significant impact. And that the details of the responses to all of these are outlined in your submittal. So I won't go through them all here, but suffice to say that it has been determined that this project does not trigger significance. They've done everything they possibly can to mitigate or eliminate adverse impacts, environmental impacts, cultural impacts. And as has been stated, this project has very, very important, stabilizing the system is critical to this settlement and the National Historic Park being able to function. Next slide. So yeah, if commissioners have any questions about the determinations for any of these criteria, I'd be happy to go into detail on these. I'm not going to read through all of them, but again, also the NEPA and the processes that National Park Service goes through. It's been quite an education learning about all of that. They're very rigorous, and in some ways they are a higher level of scrutiny than in the Hawaii environmental planning process and review process. So next slide, please. So our next steps today, we're seeking approval for the determination of a FONSI, and the next step is that the final EA and FONSI will be published in the next available environmental notice. Be happy
Anything
to
else,
answer questions.
Andrew, or, okay, if not, we entertain a motion.
So
I would add just really quick that the project has a secondary benefit of we've been able to get Hawaiian Telecom on site in the last couple weeks to assess their lines that are in very poor condition. And I think that that's going to really improve the opportunity for phone service down here, specifically for the patients, but also for the residents, which again are your beneficiaries, because it's going to be very difficult for us to have our contractors put their lines back up in the condition they're in. So I think ultimately we'll have a secondary improvement for telecoms on top of improving the electrical grid. So I just wanted to add that as you're thinking about your beneficiary impacts.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Chair, I'd like to second that.
Okay, second, discussion.
Yes,
Commissioner.
Chair. I just want to make a comment saying that thank you, Nancy, for bringing this to our attention, especially those electrical power lines. I mean, when I was working down there, that was already old. And so with all the years that it's been down there, I'm glad you guys are doing something about it. Thank you, National Park and the department for finally going down there and doing something about it. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
I
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Follow, commissioners.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to now proceed to the J agenda. To ensure that we can accommodate all testimonies, I would ask that you abide by the allotted time, which is maxed out at 10 minutes. We kindly ask each of you to be as concise and efficient as possible. Please limit your remarks, as I mentioned, to 10 minutes to allow everyone to have the opportunity to testify. We have quite a few people that are on the list. Your cooperation is greatly appreciated and will help to ensure a productive and timely session. I'd also add that, in looking at some of the items on here, there's some somewhat contentious items. My feeling is, especially when it deals with Ohana, that it really is an Ohana issue. And I would ask that, those that are involved seriously consider about getting together, talking story, maybe Ho'oponopono or something that, rather than this body trying to figure it out, it really should be decided by you folks rather than us dictating what should be done. So I just want to preface that. And so we'll get started. J1, Jeremy Makepa.
All right, hello everybody. For the record, my name is Jeremy Makepa. I'm the board president of Aina Alliance, working out of Anahola, nonprofit, primarily working on hazard mitigation. most having to do with wildfire protection, but expanding into disaster preparedness. Before I begin, I just wanted to congratulate the commission on the positive energy that they've been bringing to the department and displayed at last night's meeting with how many people are coming here. And even today, I remember 5 years ago when I first started this, coming in as the fire captain in charge of community risk reduction and talking about fire, and kind of felt like was going on deaf ears almost, where people never have trust in us as beneficiaries to take care of our own land. And you guys took a chance on us to go into Anahola and start doing some work in there in areas that really were in need of mitigation for the safety of our community. And this was far before Lahaina was even, all the wildfire mitigation stuff going on around the state. We already saw that problem and we started doing stuff, and you guys trusted us to do that. And I see a lot of beneficiaries trying to do that, even in the testimonies we heard yesterday about people trying to just be their own hero, take control, have that empowerment to go into the future, and they have some help from the department now. So I feel like people really appreciate that, and it's showing in the meeting. Going into that, you guys don't really need too much introduction on what we've been doing. We're featured on your website on the homepage as the wildfire template, basically for the state for cutting fire breaks and reducing hazards like abandoned cars. So if you guys want to find out about what we do, you can go on the DHHL website, and they got stories about us on top there. Today is about the future and other hazards that happen, natural disasters. So the grant that we got from DHHL was for a Makai management plan. This is not just for the area that we control. This is for the entire Anahola, and trying to see where there's opportunities to make changes for or planning and empower our community to create community action teams that can help to solve our own problems. So if we can go to our first map, for those in the crowd, I've provided these documents to our commission as some of the meeting resources that I've created in partnership with the county. This map in particular is a conservation map assisted by the Natural Resource Conservation Service. Like if you're gonna take on a project of 400 acres, you cannot do that by yourself. You gotta use all your mana. Like you gotta reach out to all the networks that you have, and you gotta reach out to all the agencies and see like how you can bring it all together. So I reach out to federal agencies, state agencies, county, nonprofits, and see who can help me, because I'm not smart enough to do this all by myself, right? So I bring in the technical experts from NRCS so that we can understand when we cut one fire break, what that does to the soil, the erosion, where the water gonna go, what kind of plants we can put into these areas to limit the exposure and pollution into the ocean. So they made me this whole map, USDA. So anybody who's thinking about doing a project like this, reach out to these kind of agencies. They brought in their whole statewide team to walk through and look at all the problems that we had. And they made this planning map for us to follow, so that we're not just doing any kind. We get something for look at and follow over the next several years to take care of this land. The next item that I sent over to the commission was a report that was Building Back Better. This was a partnership between the County of Kauai through a grant from Hawaii, I forget what the thing was, but they got it through NOAA, and they wanted to choose a community and make a pilot program on how we can pre-plan for a disaster like Lahaina and put things in place so that the build back process is faster. So because of the work we've been doing in Anahola, they wanted to partner with us to see how it goes. So you can go to, all right, that's good. So what we did is we created scenarios that if we did get isolated in Anahola, what would the problems be? So UH provided us with all of these maps that would predict flooding, climate change, wildfire problem areas. And we took the data from them and we gathered community members who've lived in this area for a long time and they know the historical actions of it. So we can look at future predictions and historical actions and kind of combine them into a plan. And what we did is we separated into 3 isolation zones that people can work together if we create community action teams within those zones to help each other within the community. Next slide, please. We can skip down to, so the theme of this meeting series was Be Your Own Hero, trying to educate people on the problems in the community for wildfires, tsunamis, floods, and hurricanes. Even though we're out here in Poipu on Kauai, where it's beautiful weather, people forget that we had a massive hurricane that wiped out this island, and we need to prepare for that kind of emergencies and disasters too. Next slide. So I wanted to create, based on those meetings, I created isolation zone maps that I wanted to be a little bit simple for the regular people to understand if they wanted to get involved, that they can follow up on and they can try to find mitigations plans for. Like, we just went through that Molokai one. I never understand one thing that was said, but at least if you use pictures and make them easy with colors, then when people like help, they can easily understand what needs work. So what happened is I separate this into critical areas where we gotta pay attention to. You can go to the next map. So especially for Anahola Village, the blue area is all flood zone. So if we had a major hurricane, that area would basically be underwater with storm surge, and we would be trapped by a broken bridge and potential landslides. So one of the things that came up was resilience hubs and escape routes that we need to work on. But until we get one community group or community leaders within this area, we cannot do this plan. So this is one framework that people can look at and work together to empower each other. You can go to the next slide. So this is South Anahola, one whole general area. A lot of the green areas is where Aina Alliance has control of on that map. And we can use those for evacuation zones, planning out possible food sources. We got shortcomings in our community where we don't have like gas stations or, you know, supplies like hardware, stuff to rebuild, grocery stores like that. So we got to think about when we planning to rebuild our community, what we need, what are we missing, and we get one map for like try for write grants or position ourselves long term as well as short term, how we can recover from this. So this report, you can go. I think there's a community action team page on there in this report. Yeah, so like for me, I work in the fire department. I function under one incident command system. So this page helps the community structure itself in a way that we can efficiently get information in the case of a disaster from the community out to government, and then government can get supplies and resources back because we have a chain of command system and management system. So this is the document that we would try and build as a community action team to implement the maps that we had there. So in this whole report, that's probably the 4 pages that are the most important. And this is one pilot program that I work with at the county. Is still going through a little bit of revisions, but that's what I wanted to do, just help our community be their own hero. So for the future, that's what we're working on. That's what your money is paying for the grants for us to do to maintain this land and try and be the catalyst for change and positive energy. And that's what I get for report.
Well, Jeremy, let me just say that, you know, really appreciate your leadership. It's the kind of leadership that a lot of communities could use. And, not only have you set up a future plan, but we've seen you in action and very, very impressive. So we really, really thank you for that involvement, and we'll continue to support you. Comments?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, Jeremy, yeah, it was a elephant that you took on. And
Yeah.
I remember when we first started, we kept asking the department, okay, what do we need? You need this. And look, we're gonna go in and we're gonna clean it up. The paperwork's gonna have to catch up. And I encourage people, if there's a problem, we need to move on it. We need to get the attention of your commissioner to move it forward. You did a great job. I attended all these meetings. The areas that we need for resiliency centers, I have my eyes on a couple of bright ventures that are available up. I live in the north end. So the idea is to try to put those centers in case there is a major flood or something. It's going to split the community, so we have to go somewhere. And the whole idea is that when we get resources coming in, they know where to bring it. We have power. We know where to bring the power in. We set up a bank, everybody plug in your phone, call mom, I'm okay. Okay, get off the phone next. The other thing we did is we actually said, how many kapunas do you have there? Who's got tractors? Who's got vehicles to get around? Who can move a power pole? Where's the cutoff lines? All those things. One power pole down up in the Bayview area where I live, we're cut off. So it was really a good exercise now. And I think we already have some leaders in those communities that are saying, yeah, we need to do this. We just need more resources. So I encourage all areas and to engage. And there are things you could do through the grant program that saves the department money to help us build our homes and so on and so forth. But if we don't do that as a group, it's going to take more time. And we know there's another disaster coming. We just got to be prepared for it. So thank you for all your work. And I'm sure we got a lot more to do, but thank you for what you do.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Kaniakua?
Jeremy, thanks so much for your work, for your leadership. You're right. This is what we strive to find, our rising leaders out of our community. So thank you for your work. Thank you for persevering when nobody else was paying attention. We ask that you continue to shine your light so others can see it, so they can share, so that they can emulate what it is, copy what you folks are doing that works really well, and then ask for help. I know you folks are asking for help. There's so many groups that'll help. So they come with money, they come with resources. Certainly department does. So thank you. Thank you for showing us how.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you.
If
Archie, Commissioner Kalepa.
Muted, Archie.
Hey, Jeremy, your report is really impressive, and someone who understands ICS and incident command structure and how that works is what we implemented in the Lahaina fire. I really would like to see is, and you're thinking above and beyond the fire. You're thinking about all disasters and how do we begin to strategize on ways to create a safe community that can involve the entire community. And, we have this wildfire mitigation teams for each community right now. But I think what you've done and taken it one step further in this pilot program, I really, really think that it'd be in the best interest for Hawaiian Homes to get you to come and speak at each island and talk about these kinds of issues moving forward with climate change, sea level rising, and so that people can have a broader mind of how to protect their communities, their kupuna, and keiki within that area. This is really, really impressive. I would really like to see this be adopted for all of Hawaiian Homes communities moving forward. Thank you very much, Jeremy. Well done. Job well done.
Yeah, you're welcome. And then Yeah, I just wanted to bring up, since the grant program was brought up, we've been successful in getting grants. So I'd like to encourage other groups who are wanting to participate in the DHHL grants to definitely apply. It's helped us a lot just to keep going. What I would recommend for the commission to make more grant workshops so that people can learn how to apply for the grants, make it easier for them to plan for it. For me, I write my own grant, so I had to learn how to do it myself. And it was a hard process. The first couple ones I wrote was rubbish. So it takes time. You got to go through, you got to fail. But if there's ways for the department to help other communities through that process so that they don't have the learning curve that I have, I would recommend that. So yeah, that's all I got.
Hey,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Okay, the next okay, the next testifier for J2, Chanel, Josiah, and Jeremy, or Jerry Alameda.
Signed up to speak publicly after you got choice either before or during the agenda items. Is that an opportunity still or something changed that we're just going down the line?
Well, we're going down the line, so these people have signed up in a timely fashion, so we're definitely going to take care. If there's more time later, then might be able to accommodate the others. Okay, so Chanel and Jerry.
Aloha Commissioners, mahalo.
Aloha.
Aloha Chair. For the record, my name is Chanel Josiah, and I am here today on behalf of Jerry Almeida, who's also my stepdad. We are bringing forward to you, I don't want to say a proposal, but to bring forward to you an issue for discussion. And we are seeking the commission's guidance and assistance and also feedback regarding the situation. Next slide, please. To give you folks some context, his interest in this overall parcel is 8.34 roughly percent. Next slide, please. The original award was given in 1985, and you guys will see different colors. I've tried to omit any names, whether they're deceased or living, just out of respect for any family. So I will do my best to maintain any anonymity going forward. But sorry, go back one more. So it was awarded in 1985, and it was Lot 9. It later became Lot 9A, as you guys will see in the next slides. And it is part of lease 5467. The original acreage that was awarded was about 15 acres. Next slide, please. After the original lessee passed away in 1997, he did designate a successor. However, those successors declined the successorship. So it went to public notice, and there are 5 individual eligible successors that came forward, and each of them had received 20% of the original 20% interest, and they all held it in tenants in common. Next slide, please. So after the pink lessee passed away, he had no heirs or no successors, no eligible heirs for that matter. So it went to public notice, and 2 of the existing lessees came forward, and then there was 1 additional lessee that came forward. So that 20% was split 3 ways to those lessees. So we added 1, we took off 1. Next slide. When the purple lessee passed away, he also had no heirs, so it went to public notice, and then that interest was divided between the same 3 individuals that came forward. Next slide. So now we are left with 4 lessees. 3 of them have since passed, and we have confirmed most of the successors. I only put Jerry's name here, but he also has siblings. So just for informational purposes, each of them hold a particular interest based on their parents' interest. So on or around 1993, though, however, the original 15 acres was subdivided. So a portion of that 15 was subdivided, and it was provided and turned really into residential. It's considered residential now, to one of the lessees. That lessee has since died, and I believe it is in transfer. So when the yellow lessee passed away, so remember now they all held it tenants in common. When the yellow lessee passed away, her tenancy changed to joint tenancy with Jerry and his siblings. So one of the main things for Jerry is that this legacy piece of it for my siblings, my half siblings, for them to make sure that they have something. So next slide, please. So right now, as it stands, the acreage is about 14 acres. All the co-lessees do not approve, or they're abstaining from having really an opinion on whether or not they agree or disagree. Right now, he's unable to build a property because DHHL personnel has told him that because the other lessees have residential homes, building a residential or a home on there that would be considered a home would be a violation of the lease. It was made clear by the family that no other lessees or family members are allowed to live on that property except for those that were explicitly stated. So there were very particular heirs that could reside on that property. And right now there are two existing structures on the home. One that is, from my understanding, per DHHL personnel, it is considered one workman's quarters and the other is considered a pavilion. Next slide. So right now I conducted what's called a beneficiary evaluation, and what just basically his desires, what is his existing situation, and just to give you guys context about who he is, and I'll allow him to speak in a minute. So Jerry's intent is to relocate to Kauai because right now he does reside on Oahu, but that's for the lack of housing here on Kauai, so he can't live here. Jerry's mom passed away on the wait list, and she is a Kalima claimant. He is a veteran. He is able to obtain financing, so mortgage and construction financing to cover any subdivision costs, pre-construction costs, permitting costs. And then he also has a startup fund for the subsistence cultivation. He does have eligible successors, and yes, that is a huge thing to consider when anytime that you're thinking about subdividing anything, because if you don't have eligible successors, what good is it? You'd be pouring money into something that is not right. So we did engage with various DHHL personnel on the matter. That's why we're here in front of the commission to get some guidance. So to protect the legacy piece of it, we did transfer or initiate a transfer, a portion of his interest to my brother to ensure the legacy piece. So his interest at least will be changed to TIC from joint tenancy. And then we created and submitted a farm plan. So I did give you guys the farm plan because it was requested of us. Apparently, anytime that you add or you transfer, you have to submit a different farm plan. The farm plan that we submitted was specific to subsistence ag because that's what he can commit to. Next slide. Chair, I heard you when you said that, we want to engage in family, and we have, but to prevent any further contention, it's ceased. And the Ho'oponopono aspect has happened. What Ho'oponopono really means to squash it and squash the contention. And what they have agreed upon is that they will agree to disagree on what the desires are. So they conducted informal talk stories, right? Just very informally talking story, trying to get each other or, share each other's sides. And then they pursued two formal discussions, all of which resulted in no, they're not in support of Jerry's pursuits. And then we also offered educational resources and discussions so that everybody could better understand why a subdivision may be beneficial to them, not only him, but everybody else that is also involved. So progress to date, again, we've engaged with DHHL personnel, we transferred a portion and then created the farm plan. Next. So why subdivision? Well, first and foremost, it ensures legacy. We can make sure that our keiki get it. And if we play our cards right, our mo'opuna will get it. And I know nobody likes to talk about successorship because the blood quantum is a sensitive topic, but it is what it is, and we don't make the law. So based on what it is right now, legacy is going to be the #1 issue here. Second, is that not all the lessees have an eligible successor. So again, it is important for them to start thinking about what their children or grandchildren are going to have too, because this does affect them as well. It provides free and clear responsibility for each other. So it's more than just the legal aspects, but it's also the social aspects and keeping the family together. I've seen lots of subdivisions happen, and it's to prevent any contention, not to create any. Jerry wants to build a home, but again, he can't build a home on it because it's not financeable. It has to be free and clear, and then you have to get everybody's approval, and that already has been said no to. The practicality of it. He has Parkinson's. While it is manageable right now, that's not to say that it can't progress. So time is of the essence, and we want to make sure that what he can commit to is going to be brought forward, and it's going to be brought through his successors, which is my brother and my sister. And then also aging in place. We talk about this a lot for kupuna to be able to age in place. And what that means is we're not sending them to the care homes. We're not saying, oh, sorry, you got to go live with so-and-so. Maintaining that autonomy as much as possible until we holla is important for everybody. So next slide. So some questions that I had that was not answered by the commission is, who is responsible for establishing the requirements that define a workman's quarters? What are they and where can they be found? Because I did look in the HERs and didn't see anything. And for those who don't have an eligible successor, how does the receiver of net proceeds work? So this is one huge parcel with a couple of dwellings. And let's assume that the existing workman's quarters could be considered a home. What happens when a person says, well, that needs to be sold? Who gets the proceeds? If it wasn't, especially, let's say there's 10 people, 1 or 2 people put money into that dwelling. Is it really fair that 10 people share the proceeds? I mean, I think all of us in a Pono fashion would be like, probably not, right? And I also don't think it's practical that while there is an existing dwelling, that anybody's just gonna walk up and be like, well, that's my home. That's also not Pono. That's not a Pono thing to do. So can a workman's quarters be sold? So if it's not considered a home, can the workman's quarters be sold? And then I also want to open up for questions, and I tried to keep it short. It sounds like I kind of went over time, but okay. I want to hand it over to Jerry so he can share his mana'o.
Yeah, put it. Thank you.
I just want to entertain the thought that I would spend before my mom passed away, which would be 11 years ago this June. Her wish was to do the same thing, go up there. Mom, why are you going to go farm on someplace and you cannot protect it? You know, I can't live there. Then why am I going to get involved with doing all that work? And I can't leave it to my children. So we took care of that first problem by changing the tenancy. But I just want to put something small, like a 2-bedroom cottage, and live there so I can live out and kind of do therapy too. And you know, I can go back to this island. I came here when I was a teenager. I had problems with my dad and my uncle who held the thing, taught me a lot about farming, Hawaiian salt, you know, and all the things we learned on the farms. I know it takes a lot of work, and now that I'm older, I don't have the vitality that I had when I was younger. So I gotta deal with what's best. But I want to leave the whole thing is to leave a legacy for my children. Like the legacy of what Hawaiian Homelands is for, to leave to our kids because they're the future. And my daughter has a degree too, you know, in agriculture. She graduated from Cornell, graduated from Kamehameha. So she's interested and wants to get involved, but she's on the mainland right now pursuing her education. Anyway, that's my dream. I want to do that because I know my time is limited because of what I found out about Parkinson's. So it's a challenge. It's a challenge. Every day I go in a pool, that's why I feel more free in a swimming pool. But that's my dream, to leave it to my children. And I want to enhance there. I'm not there to take control, run the show. I know about sharing, and I just like sharing that we all should share in the profit. Like you guys was talking about everybody, it takes an army of people to keep the land clean. You know, and a lot of people don't want to work hard today. That's the bottom line. They like easier things, pressing the button on the computer. But that's my hopes.
Mahalo.
To my kids.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, commissioners?
Chair, yeah,
Commissioner Neves?
you know, I'd like to just reiterate what the chair had said earlier. This is a family matter, and somehow it needs to be resolved by the family. On some of your questions about whether the caretaker homes, what the rules are, we as commissioners, we don't know all the rules, but we defer that to HSD Home Services so they can provide us the rules, and we'll read through that. If this isn't resolved, it may come to a contested case. Then you leave it on the commission to make the decision for you. I don't think we as a commissioner, as a commission, are here to try to keep people on the land. You have 14 acres. family, you need to get together and resolve this. If you don't, we have to resolve it. We don't feel comfortable doing that. So I'd just have to reiterate what the chair had said. It's a family issue. We encourage the family to get together and work these things out. If it can't be worked out, then it comes to the commission. And unfortunately, we may make a decision that all of you are not approved or okay with.
Agree
So
upon.
I sort of leave it at that. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. The next,
Thank you.
we have public testimony, Keone Mahilona.
Aloha kakayaka, aloha ina la lau Hawaiian Homes Commission o Keone ke aloha mahilona no anahola maiau. Mr. Chair, thank you as well for your opening comments around this being an ohana matter, and we really should come together as an ohana. I've given you a letter there. It talks a few things. You know, at the end of the day, there's a lot of mechanisms there, I think, that would enable what Jerry is trying to achieve here. But ultimately, what this comes down to is he is seeking an exemption to your rules that require all of the lessees to agree to subdivision. And I worry, I feel a burden, you know, if we were to allow a situation here that would create this type of exemption, whereby someone with the wherewithal can force the subdivision of land, and that does share similarities with the quiet title process. And, you know, for those Kanaka Uivi who choose to operate as an ohana, and I have my auntie here, the oldest and last in her generation, as well as the generation follow. A lot of my ohana are here to, you know, to come together as an ohana to show that we do work as an ohana, and we've been trying our best. But I would be worried if we create a dangerous precedent where ohana are forced to cut up their land simply because they cannot resolve their own pilikia. So I ask that you uphold your current rules, which does require all of us to agree to subdivision. I think our ohana can come together. I mean, we've come here today. It's unfortunate that we haven't had this hui with ourselves on the aina and on the whole, as we've been doing for more than 20 years, coming together as an ohana, meeting as an ohana, and as well as giving us the opportunity to practice our customs as Hawaiians and having that kuleana. That's not a privilege. That is a kuleana. That is a responsibility that we have there in Anahola. And I am forever grateful to have that responsibility to look after it. I don't see my leasee title as a right. I don't see it as something just for myself. I see it as a responsibility to ensure that land is looked after for the Mahilona Ohana, for the Almeida Ohana, the wider Mahilona Ohana, as well as for the community and being a part of that community. So I just wanted to say again that we can work together as an Ohana, and I do not want to create a situation here to force a very dangerous precedent. Mahalo.
Any question? Let me ask a couple of questions. It's a fairly large piece of property, it seems. I know in our subsistence ag lots, where people want to live and have a place to grow some crops and as well as have some livestock. We've gone all the way down to half an acre. Our rules allow all the way up to 3 acres. Beyond that, if you're going to do a farm lot, you have to have a cultivation plan, or 2/3 of the lands is kind of laid out on how you're going to cultivate it. But with respect to, I have to admit, I've gone through the same challenges where there's property and there's not necessarily a meeting of the minds as to how it should be used. I know that a very unfortunate result where there was not a meeting of the minds, and it estranged our family, and to a major extent. And so I hate to see that happen to families based on my own personal experience. So I always think, well, how could you solve this? Now, as co-tenancy, you all have a right to occupy the full parcel. Whoever wants to go on, they can go on. They have a right to do that.
Right.
But the reality is, if somebody puts something up with their money and say they choose a certain spot, maybe the best spot, that, with the best view and the most readily accessible, the utilities are right next
Yeah.
to it and all that. So that's the good spot. So are the others preventing, or do they have the right to say, no, you can't do that? Not really. I mean, you have a right as co-tenants to occupy whatever part you want. Now, if you build it and you paid for it, there's a question as to whether you have to share that with the others. And that's something that Ohana has to come to terms with, maybe help compensate, maybe pay rent, or if you're the one that built it, you should pay rent to the non-occupying co-tenants. And so that becomes somewhat complex and convoluted. Now, in the subdivision, which I think this commission has that flexibility if that were the choice. If everybody got, and say there's just maybe 3 of the different people that want to actually live there. And this parcel is big enough where, similar to the subsistence ag lots we've done, you could do that. Now, again, it's something where I guess the department, at least someone has told you, well, it has to be a total meeting of the minds. Well, that would be helpful, obviously, as to whether we could accommodate a subdivision. That's something we can take a look at. But also in the selection of the parcel, you can do a lottery, you flip for it. Whoever wins gets the first choice. So it's a way to be fair, especially where we have a demand for so many units and there's just so many available, but the demand is greater than the number of units. So that's where you conduct a lottery. So I guess it's trying to look for creative ways, but also, I mean, if one of the family members should be, as in this case, a veteran that wants to, live out his years on a little house where he can maybe grow some vegetables and have his ohana come visit. I mean, that's not a bad thing. And I don't think you guys would say that it's a bad thing. But how do you accommodate that but preserve your interests? Now, I think there needs to be a discussion, where there is an identification of, and maybe a separation of assets, and we can maybe facilitate that. I have to take a look at the laws and the rules, but I think this commission has that flexibility to work with you folks. If you can come up with a solution that satisfies all your needs, and that is fair. But to sit here and, listen to you guys, no, we can't do that. The rules prohibit. The commission has a certain amount of discretion.
That's right.
So we can help you guys, but you guys go talk it out. You guys figure out how to resolve it among yourself, and it will help you facilitate your solution. Okay?
Yeah, look, I don't want to take up any more time. There's more important matters to discuss here. I do want to say that we haven't had that opportunity to talk about what the solution looks like. The 2 online meetings that they held were very much, we need approval to subdivide before we can talk about what is this going to look like.
We can help you with that.
And there's the cart before the horse, which is what we disagree with. So we're not against what they're wanting to achieve.
I think
we
so,
just want to follow it in a more Hawaiian process.
And we can, again, we got rules and we got commission. The commission has certain discretion.
Make it work.
To make it work.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're here
Absolutely.
for, to make it work. So if you need some help in facilitating this discussion, I'd be very happy to be a part of that.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
Mahalo.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. J3, Kenna Stormer Gibson.
Okay. Aloha, Chair Watson, Commissioners. I thank you for allowing me this public process to speak, as you know, on behalf of the residents at Waipoli Courtyards who have for 16 months understandably been asking a lot of questions about where they will move and where they will live. The most recent proposal submitted on May 8th at the Hawaii Housing Development and Finance Committee proposes a budget of $2.2 million for relocation. And the issue is that housing on Kauai is not cheap. To find comparable housing to what these residents, there's 300 residents, there are 42 households that everyone knows qualifies for federal relocation and assistance benefits. When they are looking, and they have been diligently looking for alternative housing, they're finding that to find a comparable apartment, a 2-bedroom, a 1-bedroom, a 3-bedroom of the same square footage with on the island of Kauai of similar quality is at least $2,000 a month more than what they're paying now. I wish that was not the case. But if you go on Zillow and Craigslist, there are 1-bedrooms right now on Kauai on this island, $3,000 a month. 2-bedrooms going for $5,000. And so when you look at how far is that money going to go on the island of Kauai, it is not going very far. And yet federal law is it should provide 42 months of assistance. Well, the only way that you can provide 42 months worth of rental assistance with a $2.2 million budget is to move everybody to Oahu, which is exactly what this plan proposes. The plan submitted by the Department of Hawaiian Homelands on May 8th says we only found 2 available units on Kauai that meet Uniform Relocation Act requirements. And so therefore everyone will be moving to Oahu or off island. So we did our own analysis based on Kauai pricing. And based on Kauai pricing, if you say, okay, everyone's going to have to pay $2,000 a month more on average, and this is actually true fact. And you have 42 households that qualify, we're talking $3.5 million just on rental assistance. And then if you are low income, many people on Waipoli courtyards are low income. There has to be a further subsidy because their new housing has to be 30% of their income. Many people at courtyards at Waipoli are paying, like many people in this room, like many of us are paying 50%, 60% of their income on housing. So when we use our tax money, collective tax money to relocate all these people, they are supposed to be paying 30% of their income on housing because that is the right thing to do with public money, right? We have $25 million in Mahasda money going into this project. So if we were to follow federal guidelines on how to take care of low income people, that's another 1.9 million in the budget. And then you have the cost of moving. Most people do not want to do a self-move, which is what the relocation plan initially stated. When you add all that together, our budget of 6.8 million that we submitted is much more realistic. But that's not what is proposed. What's proposed is 2.2 million. Furthermore, everybody is to have left and vacated this building by May of next year. May 30th of next year was the proposal. 300 people finding housing all at once on the island of Kauai. What is that going to do to everybody's rental costs? 300 people all at once within 1 year having to relocate on this island. The simple reality is that they're all going to have to leave, most of them. And that's what the relocation plan submitted on May 8th says. It essentially says, we're sorry, this is the best we can do, $2.2 million, and we apologize for the inconvenience of this, but you all are basically going to have to leave Kauai. And I just question if that is the best use of $25 million of Nahasda funds. I question if that's the best use of $25 million of all of our public money, is to force an entire apartment complex to essentially leave the island that many of them have called home their entire lives. So I just am bringing it back to this commission again to say, it's not too late to change this. It's not too late. It's not too late to have Interwest Group, which is hired by this department, have Interwest Group complete a real relocation plan. Interwest Group has been missing in action. Not answering residents' questions, new staff every other month, not telling people when they will move, how their relocation benefit will be calculated, essentially not creating a relocation plan. So I would really encourage this commission to require the Interwest Group show up, talk to these residents and answer their questions. And to do that before this project continues to move forward. Thank you.
Let's see, next testifier, Joanne Yukimura. Mayor Joanne.
Aloha nui,
Aloha.
Chair Watson, commissioners. Thank you for this opportunity to testify. My name is Joanne Yukimura. In my previous life, I served on the Kauai County Council for 18 years and also 6 years as mayor from 88 to 94, where most people probably weren't born then. I speak today on DHHL's proposed Waipoli project. The project's goal is laudable, to provide housing for qualified Native Hawaiians, but its underlying assumptions and potential results, in my opinion, are not pono, because it's not okay to evict people who are working and contributing to the life and economy of Kauai in order to provide housing for others where there is no comparable housing for those who are displaced. And Kenna has just shown to me, it's impossible given the present housing situation on Kauai, which is very distressful. This proposal will not be a net gain for the community. Not some people get housing, but other people are pushed out of their housing. And in my opinion, that's not aloha. The project as presently structured will cause the eviction of many households that have little or no chance of finding another comparable place to live on Kauai. I assert this because to date, I have not seen a relocation plan based on credible documentation that shows there are viable and adequate options for those who will be displaced. Nor have I seen any document showing that HUD has approved a relocation plan for the project. If I am incorrect, please provide me and the current residents and the public with an adequate updated relocation plan that has been approved by HUD. I wish it were possible, but it doesn't seem possible. To the extent that the project depends on federal NAHASDA monies, the lack of a realistic, workable plan is a violation of federal law. A project should not be allowed to proceed if it cannot comply with federal law. The Pono way to provide condo housing for DHHL beneficiaries would be to build new units that would not cause the displacement of other residents who deserve to work and live on Kauai. It will take more money, true, and more effort, but it will be more ethical, in my opinion, and more Pono. Thank you.
Thank you. Next testifier, Lourdes Torres.
Morning, commissioners and chairman. For the record, my name is Lourdes Torres, and I am a current resident at the Waioli Courtyards. And I come here on behalf of myself and all the other residents who couldn't make it here because of their work or other issues. I have been coming here quite a few times, sounding an alarm that I now see in writing. The concerns that I've brought up to the commission again and again, I saw on May 8th And I'd like to please read it and then just share briefly a couple of things about me personally and my life on this island, if I may, so please. So this is the one thing I'm really concerned about. The item is listed under K at the end of this page, where it states that me, as a household at the Waipoli, will receive a referral to a comparable unit as a basis for their replacement housing in their notice of eligibility. However, housing in the immediate area is limited and there are no similar apartment complexes in close proximity to the property. It is anticipated that comparable replacement housing will be difficult to identify in the relocation process. There are no other apartment complexes other than vacation rentals in the immediate area, and there are few in the surrounding towns. And it closes this particular paragraph by saying that only 2 of the 32 relocation sites offered on Kauai are on Kauai, and thus invariably the project will represent housing and employment challenges for a proportion of the displacees. Then it talks about some numbers. And I'd like to take this little paragraph and apply it to me personally, if I may so please. I have lived on the North Shore since 2003. And recently I was pushed out of the North Shore like 2 years ago because I couldn't afford to live there anymore. I have a 16-year-old who goes to Kapa, and she is a sophomore graduating, and this is relevant, I'm gonna put it all together in a second, it's very important. My daughter, born and raised on the North Shore, graduated from elementary, now is in high school, and was given the chance to graduate a year early because she's a 4.3 student. And instead of doing that, she's gonna take the last year and add to college credits. And she will be graduating from Kapa High in 2 years with 34 college credits. And I say that proudly, if I may, but to displace her in that journey that she's on, because when she graduates, she's going to go straight to KCC and then straight to Manoa because we don't have a 4-year accredited college here. Her life has been so wonderful and so peaceful and so great. And she doesn't know that we are now practically homeless for all intents and purposes, because I thought we were going to get a relocation plan when I first spoke to the folks in Interwest, which made it clear that because they're getting the funds from the government, that they would have to abide by some it will kind of initiate these steps, right, to protect us, and they will have to abide by the rules. But I had been here sounding the alarm saying, hey, where are we going to go? I don't see it in a plan. The plan that was submitted and we reviewed submitted by Melissa Mann, who's no longer a part of it, part of the Interwest group, what she submitted was very disturbing. And we were here again and again, me sharing my personal experience. Hey, it's okay. I have no fight in this. This is not anything that has to do with me. Hawaiian Homelands has a right to go wherever they want and take over wherever they need to. And I support it 100%. But I would just simply like to know, does this paragraph mean that I have to now leave? I'm a farmer on island. I have been farming for 10 years. And there's no way that I can uproot without catastrophic consequences to me personally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. And these are facts. These are facts that I need to make this plea with you so that you can get a better picture, because right now we're just collateral damage. We're just numbers. Oh, there's 59 units and I don't know how many we have to relocate. I want you to see someone who is in trouble. If I lose my land here where I farm, I'll lose the money that I get as grants. I'll lose everything. I will become poor and homeless, and I have to face my 16-year-old and tell her that, because I can't move to Oahu. How do I do that? It's just impossible. And how does all the rest of the people, the dentists, the doctors that are there, the nurses that are there, how do they say, hey, the alarm that we've been sounding now is in writing. Now it's here in front of me. And it was quite a sobering moment, because the worst fears, right, is actually now coming to fruition because it's written here for me to see in plain English. So now I don't have to convince you that I'm going to become homeless and I'm going to be displaced and that a series of financial negative financial things are going to cascade. And it's very real. And I would like to know if any of you can feel that or can understand or had anything to say about it or can give me some reassurance that I'm not going to end up on the street a year from now and having to tell my daughter, sorry, your beautiful plan ahead, against all odds, I would rather say, but Papa has changed so much. It's such a beautiful place. I want her to be able to stay here. She has her dad here, and her dad is one of 9 brothers and sisters. She has her grandmother here. She has a whole support system here. And I just thought if it's okay for you to hear me say that and understand it and see if you have any comments and anything you'd like to say to me about my situation. Please.
Any commissioner? Maybe I'll say something.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
I've heard yourself and I guess I'm going to hear from these 9 witnesses that are going to testify. And I'm assuming most of them are represent the existing tenants. And, this is a program that was set up to help Hawaiians, Native Hawaiians. We presently have 4,428 waitlisters on our Kauai waitlist. Of those, 1,751 are for residential like this. Of those, the oldest came on the wait list 64 years ago. That individual, if they're still alive, has been waiting for over 64 years. So we're talking about, individuals that in a lot of cases are homeless, that are maybe incarcerated, or at least members are incarcerated, that have drug problems, economic problems, health problems, cultural problems, all kind of problems. So this particular program was set up to help those individuals, not the doctors and the nurses and the farmers and the professionals that you folks represent. And so we're committed to that. And so it's been a long battle for us in trying to make this happen. And I can appreciate your guys' concerns. And I do take into account the fact that there are relocation expenses that by law you folks are entitled to. And that will be monitored, not only by the feds, but us, because I do want you folks to be fairly treated, but I also want the process to move forward. And I know you folks have been fighting, and rightfully so, you're concerned about the location. And rightfully so, the practical and realistic situation is there's very little housing on Kauai, which not only for you folks, but for our beneficiaries who have been waiting from just about statehood. So we're trying to address that. And this is one project of 29 that we have across the state to address the 29,000 people we have on our wait list. So, when we take actions like this, we hopefully the developers as well as the people they hire are doing it properly, and we monitor that. So they're not doing it. You said, oh, well, the HUD didn't approve. My understanding, HUD did approve the relocation plan. Now there's a budget. It's not a fixed budget. It indicates a certain dollar amount. I'm sure if there's additional monies that are needed to accommodate and satisfy the relocation requirements of HUD, the developer will do that, I assure you, because I don't want any kind of situation where they're in violation and it jeopardizes our beneficiaries. I understand that the developer is trying to accommodate you folks. He's pushed back. He's allowed you folks to stay. The owners who have been fairly accommodating in the sense that they actually wanted to sell it to others that were going to do timeshares. They probably make more money doing it that way. But because they are supportive of our program is stuck with us. So we're moving along. This is not a perfect process, but I do know that if others had bought it, you folks would get zero in relocation expenses. So take that into account, the 2.2 or the 3.5 million that's gonna come your folks' way. We'll provide some assistance, whether you have to relocate or do whatever, you will have funds to accommodate your moving
Thank you.
expenses as well as the
Thank you.
rent subsidy. So that is required by law, and we will ensure that that is followed to the T.
Thank you.
So, I hope the best for you and your daughter. I don't know what the answer is to your situation, but hopefully it'll work out.
May I just end with a couple of
Sure.
sentences? Okay, yes, we are not fighting. There's no fight here in terms of like the plan that DHL has in motion. I have nothing to say with that. I think, you have to do what you have to do to get your work done, right? This is your mission. This is the oath you took, right? To do right by the people in this entity, right? The beneficiaries. I only have to speak of the fact that if federal funds are being used, there should be very little harm caused, right? If taxpayers' money is being used, the idea, the URL was established years ago with a lot of fight, right? But a lot of people shed blood literally back then. And it was so that federal funds could never displace the amount of people that it displaced back whenever this was created, in the 60s and 70s. And that I want to see this not happen again here. And just the numbers got me a little nervous because I understand the math. And if I do the math, it's a lot of units. So again, I want to separate because I want to be here with so much respect for what you're doing and what's being proposed, and that never I be seen as I'm against them or they're against us. It's just saying, hey, I hope that very minimal damage is caused to me. And that's what is stated.
I
Thank
agree.
you, sir. Thank you for your words. I appreciate them so much.
Thank you.
Aloha.
Okay, the next testifier, Chaston Hasegawa. Okay, Yung Park. Rowena Pangan.
Aloha.
Hello.
My name is Rowena Contreras Pongan. I'm talking about the Waipoli complex as well. As a native Hawaiian, you guys went to the commission meeting or whatever meeting you guys went, had over 150 native Hawaiians from the island of Ni'ihau, majority of them, who I stand firm for. I was greatly and honored to be raised by my tutoran, Hawila Kaleuhano, from the island of Ni'ihau. Last night, Chair Nevis, how did you feel? It was amazing, right?
Yes.
Watson, Mr. Watson, the lady you spoke to was my sister, Rosemary Vaivawa, right? And what did she tell you? Do the native Hawaiian people want to live in condominiums? None of them said they wanted to live in a condo. We as the people here of Hawaii, especially on the island of Kauai, we live off the land. We live off the ocean. Didn't our prince say we were given land, not condominiums? If I went and caught a pig tomorrow, where would I hang that pig? From the second floor? You think my neighbors downstairs are gonna like me smelling that hopailua kind smell? The fishes that we catch, we go and we live off the land. There is no way that our native Hawaiian people want to live in a condominium. And if there is, I want to know who they are, because I would like to sit down and talk with them, especially the people of Kauai. We have been taught, go out and get your food. Even to today, with the tough economical times that we are facing, we are not able to provide for our family. I go and I get one pig, I cut the pig in four, I give it to another ohana. That family brings me fish. The other family bring me poi. That's how we lived on Ni'ihau. We bring our traditions here on Kauai. And I stand firm that our people of Hawaii will never want to live in one condominium. Never. And if there is, I would like to sit down. Our prince has given us the lands of Hawaii. We as Hawaiians, let's stand up, people. Stand up for our land that is given to our people and the generations to come. I am the 5th generation that has lived off the land. My children, my grandchildren are the 6th generation to live off the land that I live on today, which is not Hawaiian homes. Because I choose not to live on Hawaiian homes because I don't want to deal with this bureaucracy that I have to deal with. That family that was fighting here, I had to walk out because I was crying. What does that tell us as Native Hawaiians? You say telling us ho'oponopono. It starts with our prince who says, give the land. Why are we buying land when there's so much land? Why? There's land of Hawaii. Why do we have to keep buying land? There's unnecessary money being spent when we should be helping the people out in Kekaha, the people out in Anahola who needs to put their toilet system in. Can they afford that? You're looking at $50,000. Can one kupuna who's on a fixed income afford that? What is it going to do? They're going to get thrown off the land because they cannot put on a septic system. That's uncalled for. And we have to stand up and say no more. We can't allow this to happen. I don't care if there's 4,000 people on the wait list. I like know what Hawaiian on Kauai wants to live in one condominium. That is crazy. The reason this all started was because my cousin Irving Contreras was being homeless and I brought him home. What a shame. As a Native Hawaiian, we cannot provide land for our people of Hawaii, our Hawaiians. You know why? He was 1/16 shy of being half. That's a shame. All you commissioners here, are you standing up for our people of Hawaii? Sometimes I don't think so. And it hurts my pu'uvai. You know, my tutu man told me, girlie, you get a mouth, stand up for our people of Ni'ihau. And that is why I come to every meeting. And it hurts my pu'uvai to hear that you're gonna put a Hawaiian into a condominium. And then what is the recall of them being able to pass that condominium over to one family member? You think, where the kids gonna play? There's no park in that residential area, in that parking area. What are they gonna play in Kintaro's parking lot? There's no way. Our children are so much to being on the land. Don't put them in a condominium. Listen to our Native people. They don't want this. I'm not standing up for Waipoli is because I'm afraid they're gonna take away the land. No, I'm standing up as a Native Hawaiian. Why do I want to be put into a condominium when Kauai is so blessed with so much land? And why are you guys buying land? We have lots of land. Kekaha. You heard what the ohana of my ohana said last night. I don't like living in one condo. I like live Ni'ihau style. They are resilient people. They know how to go to fish. They know how to hunt. And if I know more fish, I'm going to give the next person because I'm going to make sure your family right down the road going to get me'ai. We have never been hungry. And we were very, very poor. We lived in Pakala, camp 6, 7, 8, and 9. That was a very poor place. But we were rich in the souls of our people. So we need to stand up. All you people here who are here as Native Hawaiian, stand up for what you believe in. Don't let these people here control your life and your mo'opunas and the generations to come. Because what's going to happen? We're going to get nothing. We're going to be living in condominiums. Is that where you want your children to play? In one parking lot? One cemented parking lot? When there's so much land? There's homes in Kekaha falling apart because the kupunas cannot afford it. Have you guys ever walked into their places? And no, tell me you did, because I know you never, because I asked them. Has any of these people here come and knocked on your door and said, "Hui, aloha, can I help you?" Shame on you guys. You stand here as for our Native Hawaiian people. What do they get in response to this? That's my question to you, Mr. Watson. Have you ever gone into Kekaha and knocked on the doors? Yes or no?
Yeah, are you through?
I'm asking you that question.
Are you through? You're
I still
testifying.
get some more minutes.
Okay, go ahead. Continue.
I'm asking you the question. Have any of you folks asked the people?
Well, I gotta say, I grew up in public housing. I know what it's about. I live in a condo. I love it. I don't think everybody is like you. What we're doing today is we're giving options to people. Not everybody wants to live off the land. We have the elderly that would love to live in a townhouse.
Oh,
Not everybody's like you. You know, granted, you've had the advantage of having the benefit of going and living off the land, fishing and all that. And that's great. Congratulations to you. But there are other people on the 29,000 people on our wait list that will choose to live in a townhouse, will choose to live in a condo, will choose to live in a transitional housing.
and how much is it going to cost them?
Well, and
It's
this
going to
one,
cost them a lot of money, right?
no, not really.
No.
That's the other thing about this particular approach. We fund it where people will be paying below market rent. And at the end of that 10-year period, they'll have a home ownership. They'll also have a homestead lease
That they can turn over
that they
to their
would not
family?
otherwise have, which they can turn over to their families. I think part of it is, you know, educating you as to the approach we're using here. Have you gone to Waipoli? Have you seen the
Yes, sir.
townhouses?
My cousin
What would you
lived there.
consider them? Are they beautiful?
No,
Okay, well, that's your opinion. That's fine.
exactly.
Okay.
I wouldn't want my mother living there because why?
No.
You gotta walk up, if she lived upstairs, she gotta walk upstairs.
It's
No
ground
elevator.
floors. It's ground floors.
Not everybody, so you're gonna put 25 people on the ground floor?
We're going to put people in varied incomes from 30% to 120% AMI, which means that we'll have a cross section of people with various incomes. But a lot of them probably would not have an opportunity in home ownership, but for this program.
Okay, I would like to see that happen.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, the next testifier, Isabel Reed Cargill.
Hi, my name is, I mean, finding homes for Hawaiians, I believe is a noble cause. And I think Hawaii is for the Hawaiians. I moved here 5 years ago. It was a dream of mine to get here. I mean, I could show you the pictures of the party when I got here that I had finally made it. I picked up everything, my whole stuff from the mainland, and I moved here. And that was 5 years ago. I've worked 60 years in my life. I've never been without a home, you know, that wasn't easily attainable. I know I haven't been here a long time, but I feel like a citizen here. I feel like part of my community, both Hawaiian and other. You know, I do everything. I go on my way to spread aloha. Yeah. So Interwest grabbed this 16 months ago. You know, I'm a senior citizen. Like I said, I'm 75 years old now. I spent $60,000 in rent since then. Okay. I'm out of my pension. I'm out of my Social Security. You know, I mean, that's what I have left and some savings. Okay, now because these people haven't given me a definition, a definite time, but just kept calling me 3 or 4 times, took my information. It's like a carrot in front of a horse. I mean, okay, maybe I'll get it this month. Maybe I'll get it this month. Maybe I'll get it this month. And that's gone on for for months. That is a crazy way to live. Okay, and I can only say one thing that might be analogous to this. What our federal government is going through now, and those people who are working, they're nuts from all this. And that's how we are. They broke up these agencies. This thing broke our heads. And I would just like some recourse. And then on top of it, I found out if I'm moved by a government action, I go to the top of the list on senior housing. Okay. Now we have another little piece of chum there for me to chew on for a while. How much I'm gonna have no money by the time these people get done. And these people have had plenty of time. 16 months is ridiculous to be this far. I might as well have stood on the corner for 16 months. It has just made me crazy. It's made my family crazy. I have a grandson I can't even see, a new birth. So I'm just bringing my concerns forward, about my particular situation. This really is not good for the Kapuna, but I thank you for hearing me.
Thank you very much. Okay, the next testifier, Isabel Reed Cargill. Wallace Harden. Oh, okay, how about Dominic Scanga?
Commissioner, members of the chair, thank you for listening. My name is Dominic Skang. I too am a tenant at Waipouli. And we appreciate, I think a lot of us appreciate what you're trying to achieve. I think the frustrating part has been our dealings with Interwest. I think you've heard already a couple that shared their frustrations, the misinformation. There's no real guidelines or information given, unfortunately. In my case, I can say, to your point, if someone would have had bought the building, my understanding was if they would have bought the building, they wouldn't have been able to turn it into complete timeshares anyways. There's something that states that they would have to give a measure of it to residents to live on. Whether that's accurate or not, I'm not sure, but that's the information I also have. We work hard on the island and we need a place to stay. That's the bottom line. And displacing, and we totally understand what you're trying to achieve, but this Interwest group that was hired to do a job has failed us. And again, the lack of information, we don't even know when, how, and that causes stress because you're trying to do a job. We give back to the community. We work hard in the community. We love being here, but at the same time, we need to know where we're going. And displacing us on Oahu when we've already worked hard to establish what we have here is not an option in our case. So I just want to state that for the record. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next testifier, J12, Jesse Cummings.
Hello, Chair Watson and commissioners. My name is Jesse Cummings. Up here before you, but as a biological son of Frank Cummings. I'm here for talk or ask about our successorship. We built that house in 1990. We moved it from Kapaa. I lived there till 2002-ish, probably, till I had my own family, moved out. We sent notices
I just gonna help him out. My husband said he never had to speak in his life like this, so he's like kind of uncomfortable, but I get tears coming down my face because it's very unfortunate that we gotta be here for this reason. The documents that you have in front of you is what we call due process of law. We wanted to give time for things to process. Frank Cummings is my father-in-law. My name is Rosalind Cummings. I am the wife of Jesse Cummings, the mother of our 7 children. 2 of our sons are here present. Frank passed away in January. And so earlier you said Ho'oponopono. My father-in-law had cancer and left for Texas last year. And the way my husband found out about his passing was his cousins called him up and said, "I'm sorry for your loss." Jesse never got a call about his dad's passing. 1 month later, we have horses on the property and we've been going there frequently. Before Jesse's dad left, you guys did a walkthrough. I don't know if it was the commission, somebody did a walkthrough. And prior to that, my husband helped him clear out the property, clean up, and they had a long talk before he left with his condition. So that's how Jesse found out about his dad's passing, was from family wishing him deepest condolences. Jesse's father, Frank, has a lease, and we went through the process of what we thought was pono, because about 2 years ago, he asked us to start figuring out how he can transfer the lease over to our name. So we went through that process, and then Frank got sick. And so a month after his passing, we started feeling funny kind because the family was recording us while we was going in there, like we was trespassing. Jesse approached them for talk to them, and they kind of ignored him, hugged him, but didn't say a word. He wanted to speak to them. They didn't want to speak to him. And I talking about Frank's sister and his niece, his Auntie Momi's daughter, who Jesse was actually in their wedding. So we don't know what really went happen in the process of everything, but we do know, I do know and understand the law as much as our rights goes. So I wanted to help my husband. So he went in February with our oldest son, Ryder Cummings, in February to Hawaiian Homes to ask them about successorship. And through the due process of that, we never got any answer. So we put in a UIPA, which is an office, it's an information practice on May 2nd, and got no response with that. And so what you guys were served today was basically the processes that we went through. And again, I wanted my husband to give you guys a timeline so you guys understand that he grew up on that land. His family's been there for 5 generations in Anahola. But I brought our kids here because I wanted them to share that what their grandfather told them, and basically upholding the constitutional rights of what is our customary and traditions. And I hope you guys know that our intention was fully to move to Anahola to work that land. Our kids, mahiai, they're farmers, they work at Kumanui Keala. We live in Kalaheo Ahupua'a. We rent, we pay $2,400 a month rent. We've been there for 7 years. Our landlord is my auntie, and she's sickly. So more than likely, we might be lucky if we could stay there another 2 more years. And then you're looking at a family of a total of 10 of us, actually, because our oldest daughter, who's 21, she was here earlier. She's going to be giving birth in September to her firstborn, our first mo'opuna. So these are the things that concerns us. So we wanted to make sure you guys know we never come here because we were seeking answers from you guys. We came here because of remedial action that needed to take place because we wasn't getting any remedy. We never expected it for happen overnight. Since January, we're now in May, it's 5 months. We just didn't understand how we couldn't get any kind of documentation. When we seen the families earlier, we were thinking, how the heck they all had their information and we can't even get one piece of paper. We couldn't even request for Frank's death certificate because we don't even know what part of the state. Jesse spoke to the father's wife, and there was like a short few minutes, and she basically said, well, I'm sorry, I couldn't contact you. I was going through a lot, but basically your father decided to leave this place to his niece. So for us, if that is the truth, we just want to make sure that everything is happening legally, lawfully. Because I have it right here. It's the I have a certified copy of all the laws that you guys work and farm under. I got it from the Capitol. So I wanted to study the law and understand where our rights fall in this. And so because Frank is a lessee, yes, he's recently deceased, his son automatically would qualify as a beneficiary or lawful successor. And that's what this is all about. I can tell my husband's having a hard time. He has his whole timeline, but I really wanted them to have this on public record in case we got to escalate this further. We did want to speak to the family. We did attempt to speak to the family, but they ignored us. So what we did was we just removed our horses and we left. Unfortunately, our kids and ourselves, we don't agree that that's the Pono way to just leave the land that my husband grew up on, that the kids were raised on. They have a lot of memories there. And it's very unfortunate, like you guys all share, we all get stories. We all get stories. But my father-in-law was very a part of the Anhola community. We've met the chair before. I think when he first moved here on the property, they used to have meetings a lot. Not chair, sorry, commissioner. They used to have meetings a lot down on his property. So we've met you before. Frank has 3 children altogether living, but Jesse was the only one that kept communication up until his brother. When the father got sick, they started communicating. And so everybody has a letter that they wrote to back statements. But I want my husband to kind of give briefly his timeline, and I'm gonna. Okay. In August of 2024, at my father's request, I prepared the Anhola Homestead property for DHL site visit prior to his medical travel. I gotta turn this in. I don't have a copy of this. I cleaned, maintained, and stood in stewardship of the land on his behalf. On February 20th, 2025, I submitted my formal notice of succession inherent right to DHL requesting confirmation of any designated successor or initiation of the succession processes as required under HHCA Section 209. On March 3rd of 2025, I issued a second notice in demand for oversight formerly served DHL, the U.S. Department of Interior, the Hawaii Attorney General, and the U.S. Secretary of State, reinforcing the legal fiduciary violations at hand. March 17 of 2025, I submitted an affidavit of truth and formal notice of breach outlining procedural obstruction, breach of fiduciary duty, and refusal to release documents lawfully due to me as a successor heir, Ho'oilina. May 2nd of 2025, a UIP request for my father's lease file, Form 00051, and succession records was submitted. As of today, May 28th, there has been no response in violation of HRS Section 92F. May 14, I lawfully served 25 pages of unrebutted record to the Commission and State of Hawaii Attorney General, including a contested case hearing, affidavit, memorandum, supporting case law doctrine, liability and remedy preservation relief requested. My kuleana spoken from heart. My father told me directly, this place is for you guys, my son. He didn't just say it. He showed me in 2024. He asked me to begin the succession paperwork. He trusted me with this kuleana. This was not just a statement. It was preparation. I honored it. And then I honor it now. I didn't come forward to take. I came forward because I was told to continue. I want to address conflicting claims. It has come to my attention that a niece or another relative may have been listed on file. If such a designation exists, I may say clearly and respectfully, it was not done in alignment with my father's will. It was not discussed with me. It was not part of our family plan, and it was not pono. If there are competing claims, I respectfully request that they be brought into light of due process with full transparency, legal eligibility, and sworn statements so that this commission can honor its trust duty to protect rightful succession. I request this commission to halt any reassignment, processing, or internal decision regarding this lease until any lawful remedies are exercised. Kupuna yesterday gave the word po'ai, that everything will come full circle. This isn't just about a lease, it's about return. My father held this kuleana and now it seeks to come home, not to someone new, not to implication, but to his son, his children, his lineage, and the ohana who walked in it with him. I ask this commission to uphold what is pono and what is lawful and what is entrusted to you under oath with honor and aloha. Jesse Cummings. Want to say something? Okay, the kids want to wait till public testimony for speak. They don't want to take up anybody else's more time. I don't know if you guys are gonna allow them to just briefly share something for 2 minutes or.
Well, you have 10 minutes. Oh,
Okay.
I'm sorry, you already used it up. We do have one testifier. Nakai Elua Villatora.
Yep.
And then, but before we bring that, are there any questions from any of the commissioners?
No.
No. Okay, so we'll have this person testify.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you guys all can testify.
Yeah.
Go ahead for it. Go for it.
Aloha mai kako. On the record, I am Nakailua Villatora, ho'ili no Hawaiian, kanaka wahine maoli. So the other testimony that I had sent to you folks that you had on the presentation, that was actually from my kane, my partner, Fletcher Parker, who that testimony, I would like to make a receipt that his testimony is being processed in the testimony in support of agenda item J12 for Jesse Cummings' successorship, lineal descendancy, on my behalf, on my own pono'i, my mana'o. So my experience, I haven't known Uncle Frank Cummings for a long time, probably within the last 5 years that I've known his ohana, his son, Jesse, and his wahine Manavayakea and their ohana. The reason why I felt a kuleana to state my mana'o and express my mana'o and my kane's mana'o is because of the neutralness and understanding that in Uncle Frank's good health, he expressed his desires that he wanted that his son, his ohana, his mo'opuna, his grandchildren to be able to succeed him and to really accomplish the vision that he had. A little background about myself. My father had been in agriculture for about 12 years, and my kane and I have also been a part of agriculture here on Kauai for the last 8 years. And during that time with Uncle Frank, the last time that I had spoken to him personally was probably about 2020, probably late 2022 or 2023. And he still always had this ano about him that was always supportive in trying to get his ohana back to that aina to really cultivate what he had. And he was a dreamer. He had so much mana'os about what that aina could have provided, not only for his ohana, but for that community there. And he always had this kaiaulu, kahua kind of mindset in the ways that that aina would benefit not only his ohana, but everyone, because of the fact that, you know, me not being blood ohana to him, he also was like, you know, a part of it. You were a part of it as much as anyone else, just based on what his ideas and his visions was, you know, cultivating the aina as lo'i, as planting tea leaf, planting la'au lapa'au, growing more food, sustenance in the aina. And because we had this background in agriculture, he really wanted us to express, you know, with him and try to plan for that. And my support is to his ohana and that his son, Jesse, becomes his successor so that his mo'opunas can also have the opportunity to become his legacy. And I want the commission to honor that and honor the Olelo No'eau. There's an Olelo No'eau, Ho'okahib Leo Walava, one voice is enough. And the voice of that kupuna is of our prince. This aina is held in trust. Yes, you guys are the commission that can actually work towards that, but I want you guys to be able to see that the decision and possibly you guys helping to ho'oponopono this, to make it right, to make the correction, that you will see that Uncle Frank's vision was to have his mo'opuna and his son take over his succession. Mahalo nui.
Would you guys like to testify? Go ahead.
Yes.
Speak into the mic, please.
Aloha Chair Watson and Commissioners. I'm here to support the agenda J12, Jesse Kekoa Cummings, lineal descendant. My name is Ryder Kekoa Cummings. I'm 19 years old and live in Kalaheo, along with my younger brother and my whole family back there. I'm a Paniolo, Maiai, and a Levaita. I work for Kumano Ikeala. We plant kalo out on the west side. And now I'm currently working as a Levaya in Alaska, 6 months out of the year, and always look back to come back to Kauai and be on our land. Currently, we come back here, or when I come back, we have to be in Kalaheo now. Before, when I come back, used to be in Anahola, spend time with my grandpa, help him out on the land. And now we can't do such because of what's going on right now. I'm here to support my dad, Jesse Kikoa Cummings, who's a biological son of Frank Cummings, known to us as Papa Frank. We spent a lot of time in Anahola with my dad and my papa. I helped them with whatever is needed on the land. I worked alongside him for many years since I was very small, worked his machines, worked in the community. Papa Frank made it clear to me when I was young, or from when I was young, that the land would be ours, that we'd be there for the rest of our lives. And he also made it clear that he wanted us to live on his land. And that was his plan, not just for my dad to live there, but for all of us to be able to call that place home. I'm asking you guys today to do what is pono and to honor the legacy of our papa that which left behind. We know he helped out the Anahola community and DHHL a lot. Uphold the law which guarantees succession to biological children who meet the blood quantum, like my dad, Jesse Kikoa Cummings. This is not a parcel. This is our birthright, our connection to the Aina, and the chance to thrive as Kanaka with Kuleana. We want to carry our papa's legacy, the way he lived it, the way he said it, and the way he meant it to be passed on. Mahalo, Ryder Kikoa Cummings.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Hunter Kaikoa Cummings. I am 15 years old and I am one of 7 kids. I am here today with my ohana. My mom is Rosie Nicole Malavai Cummings, and my dad is Jesse Kikoa Cummings. We're here today for the land in Anahola. My father, Jesse Kikoa Cummings, is the son of Frank Cummings. Our ohana grew up on that land, and we learned many things such as how to raise animals or how to make fence. Ever since we were younger, we would have fun and enjoy being on the land. My papa promised me before he passed when I was younger. He said we would have to clean up a trailer so we could move in with him. I also hope that I can raise an ohana on that land and pass it down to generations without having to worry about rent or having to move somewhere else because it's too expensive. That's all I have to say. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay. Okay, J13, Henry Laxon. Sure. We can.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Morning.
Aloha to Mr. Chairman Watson and the commissioners. Hi, my name is Henry Laxon. Excuse me, I need my glasses. And I have been on the Department of Hawaiian Homeland's waiting list since the early 80s. Okay? I have rented through my life. I retired from the Carpenters Union 37 years, raised my kids, 7 plus 2, take that 9. I'm a claimant of the Kalima lawsuit settlement and received a settlement. In 1995, I submitted a new application since the early 1980s for Oahu. My first one was for Kauai residential, Maui agriculture. Kauai agriculture, Maui residential. So I submitted a new one in 1995 for Oahu. Okay. This is residential. Says my original application from 1980s, which was 1981. This is my daughter Rosaline, and she was 6 months old when I first filled out an application. Was HHCA, which is Hawaiian Homes Commission Act. That was my application. Was the Department of Hawaiian Homeland. So in 1980, it was not for Oahu at island waiting list. My original application was not for Oahu waiting list. I thought I have pre-qualified opportunities in the past, and I have not been to be selected on a lot and obtain a home. Since my 1995 submitting to Oahu, I was eagerly anticipating the awards for the department and as well as for the opportunity to secure a home. And on March 22nd, 2025, I learned that the families and friends that I know of the West Oahu Project Lease Award, it was disheartening to find that I did not receive a letter offering me this opportunity. Okay. In 2023, I visited the Kapolei office and updated my new address. Subsequently started to receiving postcards, survey letters, and information from the Department of Hawaiian Land with my new address. Okay. However, I did not receive regarding the West Oahu project on April 25th, 2025. I returned to the Kapolei office to speak with the branch housing staff community to confirm my address. Michelle, thank you. Which was verified and correct. The staff member mentioned that the letter had been sent. What address? I don't know. To me, but not provide a copy of my name and address. They couldn't provide me with that. I felt deeply disheartened and recently development. My sincere hope is that you, Chairman Watson, and commissioners will consider my situation, ensuring that I receive a fair opportunity to secure and lease and a home. And this opportunity means a great deal to me, not only for my stability, but as a culmination of my decades of waiting and hoping. Your attention to this matter would be greatly appreciated, and I will be eager to discuss any possibilities that may exist to rectify this situation. I request reconsideration as I didn't receive the offering letter by the deadline and didn't choose this defer. I was given to the opportunity to respond. If I had received the letter, I would have expressed my intention promptly. Mahalo, sincerely yours, Mr. Laxton. Now, if you guys look at these copies that I gave you guys, this was sent out to you, Mr. Kali, that on April 24th at 1:26 p.m. It's almost the same as this about my address. If you guys look at the second page, it's the Kalima settlement, okay? And then if you look at the fourth, you guys sent me this Ever Beach Plan project, which was January 24th, 2002, my new address. This is my new address, PO Box 89. And the cards you guys sent me, I'm not a beneficiary. I'm an original applicant since 1981. The only time I changed it was 1995. But you guys got my new address? It's all written, all outlined in. And I don't know how you guys missed my name on this 700 homes they're building in West Oahu. I really appreciate it. You guys can really consider this because in 2018, I received a letter for the 63 homes that they built the same place, the same area. Yeah, and my loan was qualified for 400,000. Now, I never know, they called everybody's name but mine. And I was on standby. Now they're putting me on standby again for this 700. How that one happened? You guys got my new address since 2023 November. PO Box from Wahiwa 86-1512 to PO Box 89, Waianae, Hawaii. Please reconsider this. Like I said, I've been on a waiting list since 1981. My daughter was only 6 months old. How old are you now, honey? How long? What's going on? I work for my kids.
I think I just want to add as well, in this West Oahu project would be good for my father. He's in retirement right now. And I actually bought a home in Ho'opili, so it's right down the road from me. So this is very close to my residence as well.
Yeah, I guess you talked to Michelle Hitzman on the process already? Yeah, okay, so I'm assuming she provided some
You guys sent me
clarification.
something, like saying that.
But let me say that you know, we are accelerating our developments. We have about 29 developments that we're working with. Next year, I know we're gonna start to issue more awards. So while you might not have, for whatever reason, and if it's on us, then we need to take responsibility for that. You're a Kalima recipient. You have a settlement.
I got one
Yes,
thing to say, Mr.
Okay, great.
Are you a, he
Can I-
asked, are you a Kalima recipient? Yes, yes.
Yeah, so
Can I
what,
say something?
oh, okay, go ahead.
We did one house project. Yeah, working for Creative Partition System, Shioi Construction.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I worked with them for 10 years. Found out that there was a couple of Hawaiian homestead, besides the one by the Hawaiian homestead, I mean, the office that they built. And my friend, he's 3 years younger than me, got it. I don't know how he got that, but that's the reason why I changed to 95. When I changed to 95, I asked the person from the Department of Hawaiian Land, how long? Because I've been waiting since 19, couple years, you get your place. Now, this is 2025, that's 1995. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, just recently we got some money in a couple years ago, so that's kind of funding a lot of the projects we're doing. And so I know we have the Calpea, which is 60 units that are gonna be processed probably along with the 700. But we do have several additional lots that we're also gonna put some more housing on. We also are acquiring other lands. We have some lands in Hawaii Kai. Looks like we're gonna get some lands in Kalaheo. So there's some really great locations that you know, we're gonna do some developments. So I would you know, granted, I mean, if you want to make a case regarding, well, I should be on this
Well, you know
one of
how
the
they
700.
bypass my name?
Yeah.
Well, again, I don't know the
That's the main question right
circumstances,
there.
but you know, if we were wrong, we'll
I
try to
submitted
fix
my
it.
new address.
But
I think he's just concerned because his time is short. Yeah, he's, you know,
Right.
he's getting older and we don't have the 50%, right? So it's done, it stops with him. So
Yeah,
if he's-
so that's one reason why you know, we are going to make more awards next year, 2026. So I would definitely you know, we can get into litigation, all this other stuff concerning why I should have got a lot, and we could, you know, argue and whatever. But I think a more practical approach would be to make sure everything is kosher and correct. And then, like I mentioned, next year, we're going to be making more awards. We're going
I really
to
picked Kapolei site, yeah.
yeah, couple A, we're going to have
I never liked the Ever Beach project because flood zone.
oh, okay. You know,
like that.
part of
I
it
only
is
couple A.
choices. So we are going to do multi-units. We're going to do some mixed use where we have units on top with commercial development on the bottom. We're going to do kupuna housing. We're going to do transitional housing. We're going to do all kind of different, besides, which is going to be the majority, single family homes. We got some that we're going to be doing next to a couple golf course, next to the Eva Beach Golf Course, very close to the ocean. We're looking at lands in Kunia. We're looking at lands in Haliva, excuse me. So we got a lot of different projects coming down, and we are fast tracking them. So I would say that you're going to have a lot of choices in the next year and the year after that, which might be
Next year?
Yeah, next year. So we're going to be making more awards. So my suggestion is we need to make sure that whatever.
Kapolei side, West Kapolei.
Yeah, West Kapolei. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Kilo.
Okay, so just hang in there and hopefully we can expedite it. And I understand, and that seems to be a very common problem with a lot of our beneficiaries, that their heirs don't have the 50%. So that's why we're making these project leases. So once you get a project lease, even though you don't have a parcel, you have a project lease for a specific project. And then you go through the process, which, you might want to, and what we're doing with some is in anticipation of you giving it to your daughter, you come in with her information as well as what she wants to build. She might want a 3-4 bedroom home. So you go in, pre-qualify, and you get it built at that time with understanding, as well as the actual transfer of the lease to your daughter. So we'll work with you. We have counselors as well as developers, as well as even our staff to identify. You can look at our website. It'll identify on new projects that are coming up, and it'll give you some timelines. But I think next year we're going to be very active on Oahu. Okay.
Thank you.
And we apologize
Thank
for
you,
the
Commissioner.
misunderstanding.
Mahalo.
Aloha.
Thank you.
Okay, we have J4 Francis Aloy West Oahu project leases.
Hello.
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 Yeah, we can
Can you
see
hear?
this.
Can you
Yes.
hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Hello, Chairman Kylie Watson, Commissioners.
Hello.
My name is Francis Aloy, and I am currently 80 years old. I am here today to request consideration for a lease offer and to clarify that I did not choose to defer the offer for the West Oahu project lease, Ka'ulu'okaha'i and Ka'upea subdivision. I never received the offer letter, allowing me the opportunity to respond. I learned about this offer from my niece, whose application date was in year 2000, and she received a lease from this project. According to the DHL website, on the Lot Offers Awards, the first letter sent out on January 14, 2025, was addressed to applicants on Oahu residential waitlist, application dates up to December 31st, 2000, with a response due date of February 7, 2025, which was later extended to February 14, 2025. The second letter dated February 14 and was sent to approximately 1,000 applicants with application dates from January 1st, 2001 to December 31st, 2004. The deadline to submit the response form was February 28, 2025. In the past, I have received offers in the Waianae and Princess Kahano estates, but chose to defer and decline those offers as it was not interested. My position on the wait list remained unchanged. My application date is February 24th, 1994, and my mailing address in Waipahu has remained unchanged over the 40 years. As a beneficiary, I respectfully request consideration for a lease offering in the West Oahu project, Ka'ulu'okaha'i and Ka'upea subdivision. My children are not eligible to succeed me on the waitlist since they do not meet the 50% blood quantum requirement. This lease would fulfill my family's long-held goal of acquiring a lease in this project area. We appreciate the Commission's considerations of your requests. I am a U.S. Army veteran with 75% Hawaiian. and a credit rating of excellent. With a current VA rate of 2.5% and no down payment, I am ready, if awarded a lease, to pre-qualify for Hawaiian Homes. Mahalo.
Thank you very much. Okay, the next testifier, Tiare Colomena, regarding lowering the blood quantum. Oh, excuse me, okay. J17, Nadine Visoria.
Wow.
Okay. J18, Kekoa Inamoto.
She sent us a part of the song.
Kekoa Inamoto.
Oh, okay, okay, let's go to Leilani.
Okay, J16.
Sorry. Okay, we'll go to her.
They're letting me unmute.
J6. J6.
Yes, I said.
Yeah, okay.
Or Leilani Aldridge. Okay, Leilani.
Hi, aloha. My name is Leilani Aldrich. Aloha Chair and Commissioners of DHHL. Thank you for the opportunity to share my concern with you. I live in Panaeva in the Hilo district on Hawaiian homelands. I'm the third generation. I'm a beneficiary of the current land that I live on, a 5-acre agricultural residential parcel. I took over. My mom signed over the lease to me in 2008. I have a home that is my residence. I live on 5 acres. I have not yet been able to develop the full 5 acres. I often look out my window, look at the land that I have not been able to develop yet, the portion, and I look at the housing crisis that we're in. I look at the thousands of people on the DHHL wait list, and I want to be part of the solution. So I submitted an application to subdivide my property. My family members, they live on the mainland, they live on Oahu, they live on the other islands. So my family members are not taking my offer to subdivide the land. However, one of my Hanai uncles who lives in Hilo, he said, I'll take it. So I said, okay. Uncle Obed Kipili'i, who is 90%, 96% Hawaiian, he's on the DHHL wait list. I said, okay, Uncle, let's do it. We looked at the DHHL handbook regarding the guidelines and regulations for subdivision. We met the requirements that are written in the handbook. We got the application from the office, went through it with a fine-tooth comb, met all the requirements on the application in writing. Okay, that was in November, December of last year. In November, Uncle Obed was awarded one of the hundreds of DHHL leases that was given out in November. He deferred because we were applying for the subdivision of the property that I have, that I'm the leasee of. When we took the application to the DHHL East Hawaii office, did everything, signed everything with Christina. She stamped, dated it, and then told me at the very end, oh, by the way, we also need a letter from your mortgage company releasing a release letter stating that you have permission from your mortgage company to subdivide the land. So I questioned that, saying there's nothing in writing in the handbook, there's nothing in writing on the application that says that. And it doesn't make sense to me because the mortgage is for the house, not for the land. Okay, moving forward. It's stamped. Christina told us, I'm going to submit it. It's going to start going through the process. We just need the letter. Because the mortgage companies on the mainland do not understand how DHHL works, I have not been able to get an approval letter from my mortgage company saying, yes, you have permission from us to subdivide your land. I got an email from Christina on April 19th stating that, oh, okay, well, the law that says that we need that letter was put into effect around 2016, 2017. To date, I have not received anything in writing showing me where that regulation, guideline, law, whatever you call it, is. There's nothing in writing that says that. So to my knowledge, all the requirements were met. The application is in process. So with all of that said, we as leasees, I want to be part of the solution, which is why I want to subdivide my land. I want it to be used to the full potential of what I have. And with Uncle qualifying and being able to receive that, and this little glitch that we encountered, I'm asking my request to the commissioners, to DHHL is because I don't have anything in writing. DHHL cannot provide me anything in writing saying that there needs to be a release letter. I am asking that our application be grandfathered in prior to this letter release from the mortgage company that was put into effect sometime around 2016, 2017, and that our application be approved so that we can move forward in the process. Uncle took his name off of the list of what he was awarded in November, allowing another Native Hawaiian to have DHHL lands. Again, we are here to be part of the solution, not to complain, not to stand by and do nothing, but to be part of the solution. And I want to say thank you to Jeremy Makepa, who is a perfect example of being part of the solution. What can we do to help our other Native Hawaiians? And that is my heart. I'm asking that the commission take a look at that and approve my application for subdivision so that Uncle can proceed and build a home for him, not only him, but for his descendants, because we all know it's going to be impossible for our kids to buy a home fee simple where we live right now. My kids are going to have to spend almost $1 million to buy something fee simple. So what you give to us, what we hold now will last for generations to come. The other option, I can only think of two options. If DHHL will not approve of my application because of this letter that's needed, the other option that I can think of that I would like to request is that DHHL refinance my mortgage loan at the same rate that I currently have, which is 2.25%. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it very much. And I hope to get a response to this soon. Aloha.
Well, what we'll do is we'll take a look at your situation, and whether we could grandfather it in or maybe you sign off on some kind of indemnification of the department relative to the lender, and that might, at least in my mind, be sufficient. I'm not sure if a letter from us to the lender might help, but we'd be willing to do that. Try and keep it simple. So with respect to the subdivision, how big is the lot?
It's 5.003 acres.
So you're gonna do 2.5 acres each? Or how you,
Yes.
I see. And this is in Anahola, it's a ag
No,
lot?
it's in Pana-Eva
Oh,
in the Hilo
Paniagua.
district of Big Island.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that size lot would work well. Okay, well, let's see if we can work with you because I do appreciate your suggestion and willingness to subdivide and 5 acres is fairly large. So a 2.5 acre parcel with a house on it is actually just about right. That's actually perfect. So we'll work with you and try to get that processed. So do send
Okay.
us information regarding your lender as well as information as to the recipient. And I'm assuming you're willing to do and pay for the subdivision?
Yeah, they are willing to, Uncle Obed and his family are willing to pay to do everything that's needed for the subdivision.
Okay, we'll work with you and get it done. Okay.
Thank you
Thank you very
very
much.
much. I appreciate it.
What is that? Okay, Kekoa Inamoto.
Aloha mai kako from Maui. This is Keikoa Inamoto, and I am representing Pa'upena Community Development, Inc. And I'd like to start a PowerPoint, please, Michael. And this PowerPoint is in the context of Pa'upena Community Development Corporation and the Pulehunui Hawaiian Homestead Association partnering to develop the 646-acre Pulehunui South regenerative farming homestead community at Pu'unene in central Maui. May I have the next slide, please? So in November of 2016, my neighbor here at Waiahuli Homestead, Norman Abihai, and I co-founded Pa'upena. And Norman wanted to come on this morning. I called him this morning and he said he had a health-related attack. And so he can't join us this morning. But I do want to say that Uncle Norman's main concern with respect to the Hawaiian homelands is that there are 31,000 acres of land on Maui, and not even half of them are being homesteaded. And we're buying more lands, and so the balance of this, let's say there's 16,500 acres available to be homesteaded. And Uncle Norman feels very strongly that we should be addressing these lands that are in the inventory already before we go out and buy other lands. And I just wanted to say that on behalf of our president, Uncle Norman. Next slide, please. So these are the officers and the we have an 8-member board. There's Uncle Norman up there, he's the president. And at the lower right is Kainoa McDonald. She's our administrative assistant. And so on our board, we have on the upper right is Emma Yap. She's the chairwoman of the board. And then on the second level is Aaron Okpal. 4 of the 8 of us are Waiahuli homesteaders. And then there are on the board 2 waitlisters and then 2 Native Hawaiians who are not beneficiaries. So Aaron Okpal is on the second row on the left. In the middle of this middle row is Mahesh Cleveland. He was born and raised on Maui, and he's an attorney, a water rights attorney with Earth Justice, and he lives and works on Oahu. And then second row to my right, or on the right, is Auntie Napua Alakia. She's a Waiahuli homesteader. On the lower left is Kaia Maderos. He's with the County of Maui Department of Agriculture. He is not a beneficiary, but he is a Native Hawaiian. And in the middle is, on the lower level, is Lainell Lasike. She's a waitlist beneficiary who resides in Las Vegas. She is the secretary of our board. Next slide, please. So this is the vision and the mission of our homestead, our beneficiary-owned homestead. Association. Our vision is to fulfill Prince Kuhio's century-old dream for Native Hawaiians to reconnect with Waiahuli Ahupua'a in thriving farming and ranching communities, and to share this paradigm throughout the Pai'aina. And the mission of our nonprofit is to provide resources, training, and advocacy to empower fellow Hawaiian Homes Trust beneficiaries to build homes and self-sufficient communities. And our corporate values listed below are Ea, sovereignty, the life breath that undergirds all efforts; Eleo, energetic and proactive; E Huliao Kako, change the system, transform the community; and education, to train our beneficiaries to be financially sustainable. Next slide, please. These are some of the highlights of Pa'upena. Ukuho, our project Ukuho, is being funded by the County of Maui Environmental Protection and Sustainability Division. And it is to provide archaeological training to our OPO on the 102-acre cultural preserve that is contained within the 125-acre homelands tract that Pa'upena has a long-term license to. So we can only farm and ranch 25 acres of that. And I think what this illustrates is that a lot of the upcountry homelands are culturally significant. Our people lived on them. And through this grant project, we are identifying, pinning, and mapping some of the more than 100 archaeological sites that are contained on this 127-acre parcel that we have a long-term license to. And we had a 6-day spring break archaeology intensive. We trained 6 people to do this mapping exercise on a beautiful, which is pictured later on, habitation site surrounded by 4 cultural agricultural terraces. And then later on in the year, we will have 2-day work weekends where our trainees, our OPO, are going to come on the land and clear other sites. And that will go from July through the 3rd weekend of the month, from July through December. So that's the Ukuho project. The Wai'aina project is we installed 7 water catchment systems on upcountry and Kahikinui homesteads. And that was a $200,000 grant from the County of Maui Department of Agriculture. And our third initiative is this project Pulehunui South, where we want to develop this acreage that has had an EIS now for 6 years, and it has been lying fallow. It's very close to Kamalani. We're talking about 646 acres of homelands that is just sitting there with nothing on it, except it has 14 World War II bunkers and about 4 dozen derelict vehicles. And we want Pa'upena, in concert with 11 partners and collaborators, wants to develop this into a regenerative farming subdivision. Next slide, please. Moving forward, this is a picture of our 127-acre parcel on which Uncle Norman and our board and our volunteers, we were growing kalo on it. Right now, we don't have any water source. We have applied for 3 water meters from the County of Maui. It is an application that was submitted by Ikaika Anderson in January of 2023. So it's a request that's 28 months old, and we will be meeting the Planning Department and the Department of Water Supply, and myself will be meeting on May 28th of this month to try to resolve this long-standing request for 3 water meters that we are entitled to under a contract that the department has with the County of Maui. In any case, we were growing kalo. Uncle Norman was trucking in the water. He's getting a little old to do that now. So right now, we've installed a 30,000-gallon water catchment tank on the property. And of course, we're doing our archaeology program. And I just want to read this last paragraph. With careful planning that will include protection and preservation, little to no impact on sensitive archaeological sites, food security, flood prevention, drought resistance through educational programs, and sustainable technology, all the while we will increase our ike kupuna and strengthen our lahui and aina. Next slide, please. These are pictures from our Ukoho, our archaeological training program with OPIO. And on the right, these two pictures show the cultivation site that was cleared, mapped, and pinned. It's a habitation site enclosure with surrounded by 4 agricultural terraces. Next slide, please. This is our 30,000-gallon water catchment system that went in October, and yeah, that we ended that grant project April 30th, and we have received another Department of Agriculture grant for $75,000 to put in 2 greenhouses. So that's what is progressing. Next slide, please. This is the Pulehunui Hawaiian Homestead Association, which was incorporated on December 18th. So it's a brand new association, but starting in January, we've been having meetings on the 4th Sunday of the month from 9 till 12. And this middle picture shows the parcels that are in this sort of teal green blue. That is 800 acres of Hawaiian homelands in central Maui, in Pu'unene. And on the left is a 184-acre parcel, and on the right is the 646-acre parcel that Pa'upena and Pulehunui Hawaiian Homestead Association are seeking to develop. And we've hired a G70 planning and architectural firm to do the initial conceptual drawings and initial planning, beneficiary-based planning. And I wanted to show this map because initially, starting in March of last year at the meeting on Molokai, I went over in person and advocated for Pa'upena to develop this 184-acre parcel. But we had a Zoom call in October of last year, and during that call, Julianne Cachola of DHHL Planning encouraged us to instead move to the 646-acre parcel and do a housing and farming development there, and which the board of Pa'upena agreed to do. So we switched from the 184-acre parcel to the 646-acre parcel. And we consider Julianne Cachola a supporter, one of the 11 supporters of this project. Next slide, please. Oh, excuse me. Go back to this prior slide, please. Thank you. On the right, on the right shows in the middle, in the back, is Commissioner Archie Kalepa. On March 22nd, we took our officers and board members took him on a tour of this Pulehunui project, and he expressed his support of what we're trying to accomplish on this land. Next slide, please. These are a wait list. They are all ag waitlisters on Maui. Lehuanani Kiali'inohomoku, Uncle Bobby Pahia, and Auntie Janice Herrick. And I have their pictures here because they represent entities that are our committed partners in this group. We have 4 5 partners actually. Lehuanani Kelly Inohomoko is the founding CEO of Hui Ulu Olo o Maui. It's an Ulu oriented nonprofit. She teaches people how to plant and prepare ulu. Uncle Bobby is the master kalo cultivator on Maui. He's actually my neighbor here at Waiahuli, but he is on the ag wait list. And Auntie Janice is a Paukalo homesteader. She's on the board of the Paukalo Hawaiian Homestead Community Association. And she's the co-founding president of the nonprofit called Makana no Ke Kaya Ulu, and they are one of our 5 partners. And of course, the other partner is the Pulehunui Hawaiian Homestead Association, which Lehuanani is the president of. Next slide, please. This just shows some community activities that Pa'upena does. On the upper left shows our board members inspecting the archaeology project, and the other 4 pictures show what we were up to at the March Prince Kuhio Day Ho'olaule'ai Paukukalo. We presented lei, and we had a backyard gardening demonstration, and the lower right shows Uncle Norman pounding poi, and we gave out about, I want to say 200 pounds of poi to kupuna at the Ho'olaule'a. Next slide, please. This shows some of our other collaborators. On the right are 2 pictures, upper and lower, of G70 principles. The upper one shows President Kavika McCaig, and the lower one shows Kavika with Charles Kaneshiro, the chairman of the board, and Ryan Char, the chief operating officer and the principal civil engineer. And both Kavika and Ryan, along with architect Reen Matsumura of G70, have expressed their commitment to this Pulehunui South project. In the middle 2 pictures shows the County of Maui Housing Director, Richard Remy Mitchell. He's a lawyer. He's in the middle here between Lehuanani and myself on the upper. And then on the lower picture shows a staff meeting that we had on the Pulehunui South project. And he, Director Mitchell, wrote a letter of support for this project that we submitted to Senator Mazie Hirono in our grant ask for $478,000 in design fees that we'll be needing to pay G70. And on the right is Mai Kumuhula Kapono Aimolitau. He is the director of the County of Maui OEB Resources Department, and he is the cultural advisor to our Pulehunui South project. Next slide, please. Okay, mahalo. So in closing, I want to say Pa'upena submitted to the DHHL Land Management Division a 10-page non-homesteading land use pre-application on November 14th of last year for the 646-acre Pulehunui South tract. And 8 weeks beyond the stated 90-day response threshold, we are still awaiting LMD response on our submission. And so thank you very much, commissioners, for hearing this presentation on Pulehunui South, which we consider a beneficiary-driven homestead development initiative manifesting beneficiary sovereignty, self-determination, and self-governance. Mahalo.
Thank you very much. You folks have done quite a bit of things, so it's very impressive. Okay, we have 2 more people to testify. These are additions. We are going to limit it to 3 minutes because there's flights we have to catch and all of that. So first person, Heimen Okano.
Hello, Chair Watson.
Hello.
Commissioner Neves and other distinguished commissioners. My name is Kana Holkano for the record. I represent the Eric Knudsen Trust, which is the Kuloa Ahupua. I manage all of their lands, but I'm here today in behalf of my family, number 143 on the list, Mervyn Holkano. And I see some of the agenda items earlier that I missed and calling my house late about successorship. And so as far as successorship, I'm an intended beneficiary of something that my dad still hasn't been awarded. And I see some of the issues today are family members who are beneficiaries that passed and is not lined up for successorship. The trust that I represent is everything is transparent and accountable. And as soon as there is a family member that passes, there is no question as far as successorship. Shona Kuhio Kalaniana Ole Pi'ikoi, born right here outside Kauai. He left a legacy, and the legacy is in your guys' hands. He created the Hawaiian Homestays Act and died a year later. He had lots of work to be done, which I commend you guys for doing this and being a part of it. Sorry, I only get 3 minutes. There's a lot more that I want to say. 2 years ago, Chair Watson, you and your staff has met with us, looking at some of our properties here on the south side, Kauai.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
And we still entertain that idea. I know you guys went to the ledge again this past year. And my personal opinion is you guys shouldn't have to beg the ledge for money. It should be automatic. I'm not going to tell you guys how to run it. I have been a part of Anahola and working with the community up there, helping to get the water back down over the past decade. And recently with Office of Hawaiian Affairs, I brought the chair of Hawaiian Affairs up there and their staff as well. Trying to get the Palakia tunnel up and running, or has been seeming to want to work with DHHL, and I know the system well. I grew up there. Working with Kaipo, helping out some of the people in the community of Anahola. I love that place. And hopefully someday, my dad can get awarded something. And I commend you guys of getting Waipole. Our people have been waiting way too long. You guys have 12,500 acres in west side Kauai. You guys have 2,143 acres in Anahola and hundreds of acres in Ele'ele and also Wailua. I like to see a lot of those lands be occupied by our people and not have to beg the ledge for money. And putting in the sewage septic system and working with the community to try and make that all happen, do it right. So, and I just want to say mahalo for you guys coming out to the birthplace of Jonah Kuhia for the first time ever. It's huge, and I hope you guys continue to do that. He has a long legacy to leave behind, and it's in your guys' hands. You guys, it's all up to you guys, and I'm willing to help you guys with whatever I can. I don't expect nothing, but I really want to see DHHL move forward, and I see this administration moving forward more than any other administration that I've seen in the past. And so mahalo you guys for coming out, and successorship, that's important. Trim down the list. That's a whole other issue. And Chair Neves, I appreciate all your hard work. I think you're going to be termed out soon, and I hope we can fill somebody in that position that really loves Kauai, and the rest of Hawaii. The lands that we spoke about out here on the south side, we're still willing to entertain that.
Okay.
And however long we can hold on to those for. But I just want you guys to really look around Kauai, look around Southside. We have more billionaires per capita than anywhere else right here on Kauai. And so Kauai is shrinking fast. And so I know you guys have a big job ahead of you guys, and sorry for the time frame, but you guys have a big task, and you guys could use all the help you can get from Kauai. And I only speak for Kauai, but yeah, Kauai is getting small and our people are homeless and they're houseless, and we need to put them on the land. I know DHHL lands very well, and I know a lot of the people on the lands. And in closing, Frank Cummings was a very good friend of mine. He called me 2 weeks before he passed. He was in Texas, and he knew that I was working with OHA up in Anahola to try and get the water system up and running again. And he was hoping to be a part of that.
Mm.
And he was planning on leaving his Anahola property to his son Jesse and his family. You know, in closing, I just want to say mahalo, you guys, and thanks for coming out to
Thank
Kauai
you.
and
Thank you for
Southside.
your comments. And then, we do appreciate any assistance, especially from somebody with your expertise. So do continue to work with our staff and us as a commission. Because yeah, you're right. There's a lot that needs to be done. There's a lot of people on the waiting list, a lot of people that are, the issue of blood quantum and successorship. That's a real hot topic. So we're trying to accelerate the development, but also make the awards in a timely fashion. So again, thank you for your help.
You know, as far as the blood quantum trip, the trust that I represent, they don't have a blood quantum. And it's
Right.
all about accountability and transparency.
Mhm.
And they encourage any Hawaiian blood to get into their lineage. You know, they have a reputation and they have a lineage to succeed them. And we're all put here to help make that all work and everybody be happy. But yeah, take a
Sure.
look around. I encourage you guys and mahalo for coming.
We will. Okay. Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you very much.
Sure. I just make a comment.
Commissioner Nevis.
Yes, thank you for your comments. I decided this year, let's try to get the west side involved because we had Hanapepe coming up. We're hoping to continue this every other year, east side, west side, west side, and eventually we'll be in Lahui someday. But the thing is getting, and we appreciate like everything you do and anybody that wants to assist because our infrastructure costs are heavy. We have one of the beneficiaries on the west side we talked to last night that took his D8 and went up and cut the road up to Puapai. We have a water tank, a temporary water tank in Anahola, and he wants to take that and put it up there for water. We're ready to go. So I'm telling Kali, okay, all we got to do is cut some roads. I mean, finish the roads up, line it up. Let's get this Puapai going. So we appreciate everything, and I appreciate your comments. I knew Frank well; he's a good friend of mine. But total engagement. We really need total engagement for all our communities. So we will look, and I will talk to your new commissioner sitting right here, Shailene. We will talk about.
Good choice, by the way.
Thank you. We'll talk about, that wasn't my choice. That was the governor, but I appreciate what she's going to do for us. But we will look at doing that east side, west side, make sure we get everybody involved in what we're going to do in Kauai for the rest of her term, at least. Okay.
You know, it's really important that DHHL spends more time on the west and the south. And if there's any way that we can help to accommodate you guys here on the south side, you guys know how to get in touch with me.
Yeah, very good.
Mahalo, you guys.
Thank you.
Aloha.
Thank you.
Okay, the last testifier, Sherry Cummings.
Aloha, Chair.
Hello.
Commissioners, Commissioner Nevis, thank you so much for really engaging with community. You took the controversy and there was blows, but you were there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to speak about all that I said I was going to testify on, but I did wanted to talk about J1 first of all, because Jeremy Makipa, he light the fire. I don't mean literally, but I mean as how he had malama Anahola. And I'm going to say my brother Frank was a huge part of all of that. Before Jeremy Makipa, the department only relied upon Frank because Frank had all of the equipment. Frank was the one that Kaipo would call. Frank was the one that Erna would call. Kaipo would call. It was Frank. Frank was in a millennium that was different from us. And today, Jeremy, with Frank's inspiration, is Aina Alliance. Because Frank knew he couldn't do the things that Jeremy sits here amazingly say needs to be done. But even he has to network for all the professionals to make it as great as it is today. Jeremy has come out in community, and I love Jeremy because Jeremy is what transparency is all about. And when we participated in these meetings that Jeremy so eloquently put it up there for the common people to understand, That's what we look for when we talk about accountability for projects and how we as beneficiaries got a hold of more. So I'm Malama Jeremy, and I will speak on behalf of my brother Frank, because my brother Frank here, and I listed that I did not know. And I respect you, Chairman, and I respect when you say Ohana and our type of situations should be in the hands of Ohana. But I would be remiss to sit here and not clarify something. Because the last few years of my brother's life, I was with my brother. And what I wanted to do as by an example was this, to turn around in the room and give the greatest lesson that the mo'o of my brother would learn. Because if anything was true, when I turned around and would ask the mo'o of my brother if they knew who I was, the answer would be no. And I think when you read between that lines, you folks know what I'm getting at. I was the one that in the end was my brother's keeper along with his wife. To sit in the back of the room and to have this type of, they were who they were, he left this for them. I'm not gonna let you guys have that preconceived notion, because that was not true at all. My brother had his reasons for doing the things and making the hard decisions that he made. And out of being very kaumaha, he did and chose the choices that he chose to protect his mo'o. And so I leave you with this. My brother made the decisions that he made, and I know the decisions that he made for the reasons that he made it. And it's sad that it was represented in a manner that it was, because it was not true. And if, like I said, if I turned around in the room, I was with my brother all that time. They don't know my name. That should say something in a nutshell about why my brother did what my brother did. But, you know, Dennis, thank you so much, because you was a big part of my brother's life. You have been his go-to. And my brother has gone to you in so many situations. And Erna. But long live my brother. And I hope my brother did teach people how to be true Kanaka with no strings attached and no wants for nothing, because my brother never did. There was no gain for anything, but he loved community. We were the first increments in Anahola. And my brother had the opportunity to come back as an awarded lessee. And he lived his life very, very well with community. So I leave you with that, Chairman. Mahalo.
Thank you very much.
Chair.
Commissioner Nevis.
Just want to say one thing. Kanaka forward.
Yes,
That was a scene. Love that boy.
absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you. Chair.
Absolutely.
Okay, we have come to the end of our agenda. Mahalo to everyone for participating. Mahalo to Commissioner Dennis Nevis and Kaui Nevis for their service. Mahalo to Auntie Moki Niehu and her crew for last night's wonderful dinner. Next month's regular meeting is scheduled for June 16th and 17th at Halepunui, Kapolei, Hawaii. And again, mahalo for attending. We are adjourned.